Welcome, everybody, back to the Run the North podcast. We are your hosts. I'm David. That's Geek. Jake isn't here again. This intro is terrible, but it's okay because you're not here for the intro. You're here to listen to me victory lap about the Chiefs winning over the Ravens and other things, probably. We'll get into that. But first of all, Geek has a fun story that he'd like to share. So I'm not even going to ask you how you are. Just tell us the story.
Not great. So I went and played darts tonight. So we're recording this very late for Miller, at least. Middle of the day for me. So I was playing darts. And so there's this dude on the other darts team. He's gotta be 70. Or he's like 50, but he's been smoking since he was 5. So he's
So you
this
almost
dude
assaulted an old man, is what I'm hearing.
technically he assaulted me first. This dude, his whole night, he doesn't understand personal space, apparently.
He's one of those.
So, dude's ripping his cigarette, or no, he's smoking a cigar, a Swisher Sweet. They smell awful. So, bro's ripping those.
Oh, God,
so he rips it because you can smoke indoors here for some fucking reason. So he's ripping it, and then he walks up to talk to you, pressed up against you, face right the fuck here, blowing smoke in your face.
You just wanted a kiss.
Don't fucking touch me. I don't like being touched. Fuck off. My family's not allowed to touch me. Like, go the fuck away.
Fair.
And like Wonder like noticed. Like he saw me standing there at one point. My hands had turned completely white from how hard I was clenching my fists.
Fun.
He's like, dude, you good? I'm like, that motherfucker is problem. I just didn't want to assault the old man, so I didn't. Fair. I just wanted to really bad. Personal space. Why does nobody understand it? Boomer's gonna boomer. True.
Bro fought the demons that Bruce Miller could not.
Yes. So I'm still doing the subathon also. So still in this chair. Artie the Gamer says you have a podcast voice.
I do?
So you know. Yeah, you got a voice for podcasting, apparently.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I get told that quite often outside of podcasting.
Nice.
Like I have, I'm in college. I have multiple journalism classes. And people in my classes all the time are like, do you do podcasts? Because you have a voice for podcasts. And I'm like, yeah, can't watch mine, though. You would be scared.
No, you gotta.
I don't actually say that.
Promo the show.
I do listen. I actually do promo the show quite a bit in those classes. I was being sarcastic. No, so I started back to school this week, and that has been hell. So I'm exhausted, not to your extent, but to my own.
Right now, I'm chilling. Last week, so I've kind of slept better the last few days.
Mm-hmm.
Where like the first week of this, I was getting like 3 hours of sleep. After, stream for like 19 hours, sleep for like 3, stream for 19. That was tiring. I'm still streaming as much, but I'm actually getting a regular kind of amount of sleep. So that's good. How you doing other than being tired?
So school's been interesting. First of all, I'll talk about the journalism thing in a second, but I just remembered I have a script writing class that I'm taking, which is fun. The main point of the course is by the end of it, I will have a fully written pilot for a TV show, which will be interesting. But I'm a little scared because my professor, who I absolutely adore so far, she's a middle-aged single mom with a small child, and she is the most wonderful woman.
Nice.
However, on the first day of class, she basically just said, I know all your teachers are going to ask you questions about yourself, and that's great, and we will be doing that. However, I know that's intimidating, so I want y'all to ask me literally anything you can come up with so I can show you it's not hard to answer questions sometimes. Just kind of like as an icebreaker, right? So the first question she gets asked is, what do you think is the most well-written show of all time? Very loaded question, but she's been working in TV for a while. And without skipping a beat, with a straight face, this woman says, hands down, I have to say Euphoria.
Ooh.
And listen, I'm not a closed-minded person. I'm very much willing to hear her out. I'm very excited because she said we're going to be watching parts of it and she's going to be analyzing it for us and having us analyze it. So I'm excited to see it from her perspective. but the sentence "Euphoria is the most well-written TV show of all time" is a little scary.
Do you not like Euphoria? I've never seen it.
I watched it and I don't hate it. Like, it's okay, but I just feel like saying it's the most well-written piece of TV is a stretch. But
What
again,
would be is the
and
real
that's the
question.
other thing too. I can't even like argue it because I don't have an answer. I think it would. I think that's one of those things where you'd have to go like genre by genre and pick a
See,
champion
and I
rather
think
than
no matter
like.
what, it's all
And it's all
writing.
subjective either
Yeah,
way.
nobody wants to admit it, but writing is subjective.
Yeah,
People just want to go, well, The Last Jedi is just bad writing. It's like, well, maybe to you, but no, but also
right.
maybe, but
And that's the other thing. Like, I'm again, she's a professional. She has been teaching this class for 8 years and she has been working in television for 20, she said.
yeah,
So, she knows more than I do. So, I'm very
yeah,
excited to hear her perspective on it. But just hearing that at 9:30 AM on a Tuesday it gave me whiplash. So, I was like,
valid,
"Oh, okay. That's where we're going with this." She also
valid.
hates Star Wars, which concerns me. Yeah, she has a kid there's a guy in
Fired.
our class who has had her for other courses, and he's, like, a big Star Wars nerd, and she rolled her eyes when he mentioned that he likes Star Wars, and this is apparently, like, a running thing between them, which is concerning because I don't at some point, I'm gonna have to bring up to this woman that I believe the "I don't like sand" scene is one of the most beautifully written pieces of dialogue ever,
Ugh,
which is a hill I will die on.
it's not though.
It is when you listen, this is a sports podcast, so we're not gonna get into it right now,
Dude,
but I
is
have my
there anything to
reasons.
talk about, brother? There's no football this weekend. There's the Pro Bowl, but that ain't football.
Did you see
That ain't
Jason
football.
Kelsey doing the long snapper
Oh,
drills?
dude, when Jason Kelsey can't even exist, it's bad.
Um, I was trying to think of what else. Oh, the journalism thing I was trying to say. Yeah, I have plugged our circling back to that, just get that out of the way. I have plugged our podcast multiple times this week. Don't worry.
Nice.
I have. My professor actually pulled up my YouTube channel in
Oh,
front of
thank God.
everybody and made a he didn't like play any videos, but he just pulled it up and he was like, "So so the class is for like feature writing. So like news writing. It's not the same type of
Yeah.
journalism that like I do or we do.
Right.
Because what we do is technically journalism, believe it
Oh,
or not.
no, it is.
No, I know. I'm just
Big
saying that
J
for the
journalism.
audience. Yeah, big J journalism, absolutely. Um, but he pulled up my YouTube channel in front of the class and was like, "So, I'm not sure because I'm the only one in this class that he has this semester that he's had before. Like I've had this professor a couple times. He goes, "So one of your classmates is already way ahead of schedule in terms of being a journalist." And he pulled that up, and then he also had one of my draft articles. I can't remember. I think it was the Yaya Diaby and Yasir Abdullah one because
Nice.
he thought it was hilarious that I compared two grown men to a Koopa Troopa and a Goomba. He has brought that up to me multiple times. But anyways, he pulled it up and he goes, "This is good. This is great. Be
This is
like David." And I
oh
was like,
no.
and that was my internal response. I was like, "No, no,
Don't be
don't be
like
like
David.
David.
That's a
Do not
mistake.
do that."
So you end
Um,
up with friends like Geek.
but no, I mean, I couldn't say anything in the moment. I just took it all in because like that's the best compliment I think I've ever gotten. Is my
Valid.
professor just being like, "Be like this. Do this. This
I
is
can't
good."
I forget that did you say your professor watches Run the North?
He
Listens to it?
watched. I don't know if he still does,
It's
but
still terrifying to me that your
yeah,
professor knows some of the shit that comes out of my mouth.
yeah, I had to I submitted, our first, like, 10 episodes I submitted for part of a grade,
That's
uh,
insane.
because I was
Oh, the
just tasked
first
like the
10
rest of
episodes,
with
that's
covering
so
the
tough. Those
NFL.
were so bad.
They were, but he was impressed by them, so,
See, now you gotta ask him to watch like the last 10 and be like, see the improvement though?
yeah, but,
See how we elevate?
true, true, we have improved quite a bit.
Very much, very
But
much.
that being said, since there isn't a lot to talk about, let's talk about some head coach hires and some assistant coach hires because those have happened.
Yes, real
There have
quick.
been
Duck.
well,
His professor? Profess
professor.
his professor definitely knows how dumb you are. He's definitely figured that out by now. All
I'm
you need is
sure
one episode of Run the North, and
I'm
you learn.
sure, my professor and published author, Dr. Andy Duncan, knows how dumb Grayson is.
That's incredible. Good
Yeah,
for Grayson.
yeah, true.
Good
He's
for
made the
Grayson.
big time.
He's made a big
He's
time.
made the big time.
Big time.
Um, but what do we wanna do? So I've got a couple hires
Ah,
pulled up
who
here, and
got hired?
we can either go team by team or we can go head coaches and then jump down to assistant coaches. Because I
Let's
do wanna talk
go.
about some of the coordinators.
Let's go team by team and just do all of it.
Okay. So let's start out with the Carolina Panthers, who brought in Dave Canales to be their head coach. I think this is an awesome hire, personally.
Great hire. I hate it.
Yeah. No,
Canales just ruined his career.
Canales just made his career.
He's gonna have one
Oh,
bad
great
year.
job.
Tepper's gonna fire him, and he's not gonna get another job. Welcome to working for the Panthers.
Well, Tepper came out today, whenever they had a press conference and said he's apparently gonna be very hands off
I,
going forward.
I'll be,
I mean, I'm with you. I'll
I'll
believe it when
believe
I
that when
see
I
it.
see it.
Yeah,
B, like everybody's like, well, he gave him a long contract. Yeah, Tepper gave Matt Rule 7 years too and fired him after 2. Like
yeah,
Tepper's never been true to his word one time, so I don't buy into it.
fair.
Um,
I I think if Tepper has any brain, which I know is a big ask, I think if Bryce Young shows legitimate improvement next year, which I think is inevitable regardless, but getting to work with Canales is going to boost that improvement substantially. They have the draft capital to build up their wide receiver core, so he won't be throwing to the husk of Thielen and just Jonathan Mingo next year.
hopefully they boost their receiver core, but that dude, their team's so bad.
I know, but I think with Canales, he's going to be pounding the table, and I think that's going to make a big difference.
Okay.
Because their last head coach, Frank Reich, I think he probably had a little more faith in some of the older receivers they had.
Well,
Um,
Reich's never had great receivers.
that also.
Super
That's all.
Bowl winning OC in Philadelphia with wide receiver one, husk of
Alshon.
Nelf. Well,
Oh no, Alshon was hurt, wasn't he?
I was gonna say husk of him and Nelson Aguilar.
Right.
Like Reich thought. Well, Reich thought he could make Bryce be what Carson Wentz and Nick Foles were that year. Not saying they're two great quarterbacks, but that year you can't argue. And like, I don't know. That's not how you can really treat a rookie outside of maybe CJ Stroud because he plays right for Reich.
Right.
I feel like Reich was set up to fail from the beginning, and it's tough.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree. But you're looking at Carolina. They obviously don't have their first round pick, but they do have the top pick in the second round. They have the rest of their picks. They have a decent amount of money. I think it would be really interesting if they went out at the top of the second round and got like Ladd McConkey, who has been flying up draft boards over the past week or so.
wild.
Um, which I love. I would hate it if he was in Carolina because I want him in Chicago so bad. But it would make a lot of sense for them. I think he would be awesome. They have the money. Guys like Mike Evans are about to hit free agency. Maybe Canales goes and tries to pull him into Carolina, which would be insane. I don't think it's super likely, but imagine.
No, I don't want to imagine.
I think it would be kind of funny.
It would be funny. Well, it's like it's like what the Broncos did, bringing back Vic Fangio, but to be DC. Like or not Vic Fangio, Vance Joseph. Though they thought about
Mhm.
Vic Fangio too, so it works.
Yeah. And then
Like
they're getting to keep Avero in Carolina too. He announced he's not going anywhere. He's sticking around.
that's good for them.
That's massive for them. Yeah.
I don't know how he didn't get a head coaching job. I don't understand this coaching cycle at all.
It was cra
It's
it
awful.
was
It's
on
so bad.
drugs. It was hilarious.
Every team is stupid.
Yeah, but I think Canales was a great hire.
Yeah.
And
I
the
also hate
Carolina
it
is one of
because
the few
poor
teams that didn't
Baker,
fuck up. Yeah,
my boy.
I
Look
don't
how
know
they
ho
massacred my boy.
I don't know, maybe that's the long con. The Panthers are gonna sign Baker and trade Bryce.
Baker's going back to Carolina. Let's go.
No, but in all seriousness, like, Carolina did good.
Yeah.
I'm happy for them. They already sucked as much as I need them to, so I'm rooting for Carolina to get better, from here on, especially because I wanna see Bryce succeed.
Yeah.
Next up, sticking in the NFC, the Atlanta Falcons, they brought in Raheem Morris as their head coach, who brought over Zach Robinson as their offensive coordinator. I think those are both home run hires as well. Raheem Morris
The
made
whole
some
internet told me it was bad though, because defensive coach, I guess. I don't know.
You know, it's funny you say that. There were more defensive coaches hired this offseason than offensive coaches.
I feel like that's a mistake,
I
but
feel like that's a sign of the times.
I don't.
See, okay, the way I see it, the league is so offense focused and offense heavy that teams are starting to be like, okay, we want a guy in our building who is going to be able to directly counter that. Like it's going, it's history repeats itself, right? Everyone wanted offensive coaches to beat these crazy defenses that teams were building up in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. Now teams are going to want defensive coaches to counteract the big offenses. I mean, that's what this
So,
offseason tells
but
me.
that's the thing. The teams that are doing that are just the idiot teams. Like, look, when your team has an offensive minded head coach, you get to keep the same system forever and always, which is good. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't change, but I'm saying it's the same system. Your quarterback gets to gain familiarity, your players get to gain familiarity. You don't have this thing of Kirk Cousins because he had a defensive minded head coach and the coordinators kept getting jobs elsewhere, where you have 8 different offenses in 8 years. That's not good. Defenses can change. The thing, and defensive schemes are a little easier to deal with.
Sure.
Like, it's easier to transfer unless you're going 3-4 to 4-3 or vice versa.
Right.
It's
Sure.
You're going to be able to figure it out pretty quickly. Offenses aren't that way. What team that has a defensive minded head coach is great? Which one?
Give me a second. I'm trying to think of coaches.
Because all of those teams can't keep an offensive coordinator, so the offense is always bad. Or if they can keep one, they're keeping the worst one. Defensive coaches don't work. Like, I know Bill Belichick worked forever, but he also had one coordinator forever. And then immediately, when he didn't have that offensive coordinator anymore, team's bad. Because if you don't have an offense, it doesn't matter how good your team
It wasn't the change in offensive coordinator that made that team bad.
Well, I'm not going to
It
let
was the
people slander
change in
Belichick, so.
it's not it's not Belichick either. It's the change in quarterback.
Right. That's slandering Belichick because Brady's the only thing that mattered.
Oh, I see what you mean. That's
Yeah, I'm not
ridiculous. I
letting
don't
that happen.
subscribe to
So,
that crap. The what?
no,
Okay,
even the first time McDaniels left, the team got worse. Even
sure,
with
it got a
Brady,
little bit worse.
because McDaniels, awful head coach.
Mhm.
He's a good OC. I don't care what people say. He's a good OC.
So here's the thing. Here's what I think's going on too. A lot of the league right now is people trying to find young upstart offensive coordinators, right?
Yep.
That's what everyone wants as their head coach. Everyone wants the next Mike McDaniel.
Yep.
Because everyone wants the next Mike McDaniel, there's going to be so many guys that are going to leave a bad taste in other people's mouths with bad play calling. Like, look at Arthur Smith with the Falcons. Arthur Smith is a good offensive coordinator. He's not a head coach. And I think that fear, I'm not saying Arthur Smith is the catalyst, but he was the first one that came to mind. There's going to be that fear of, can these guys take over and be like true head coaches, or are they just offensive play callers? Are they just coordinators? Traditionally speaking, like throughout history, defensive coaches are usually, personality wise, usually more tough nosed, usually more discipline centric, usually more no nonsense, that type of vibe. And I think a lot of people are wanting that more culture wise because of guys like Dan Campbell. And I know Dan Campbell's not a defensive coach, but that's his philosophy. Very much get your shit done, no nonsense. Sure, you can fuck around a little bit, but not in like a way that's going to hurt the team. It's no nonsense, serious, true discipline. Think of Bill Belichick. That's what he did for years. Do your job. That was the Belichick motto. Teams are looking for like a true head. And what they want below that is they're trying to do kind of what the 49ers have been doing with their defensive coordinators and their offensive coordinators, true. Granted, Shanahan's their play caller, but it's still their OCs, where you just build an absurd tree. Like, you just have that next guy up mentality where the system is going to stay pretty much the same. I know the Niners kind of strayed away from that this year with bringing in Wilkes, but historically, the Niners, their defenses, they've just had position coaches that step up and become their new OC or their new DC. And I think teams are trying to do that offensively. And I think a good example of that is what the Chicago Bears just did. They brought in Shane Waldron, And if Shane Waldron gets hired out as a head coach next year, they brought in Thomas Brown, who has familiarity with Shane Waldron, worked with Shane Waldron, has the ability to be an offensive coordinator. He's currently their pass game coordinator. If he gets hired up, their quarterbacks coach, 2 years from now, say back-to-back years, Waldron and then Brown get hired out, which is very unlikely, but hypothetically, just for the sake of the argument, their quarterbacks coach they just brought in also has that ability. He's from that same tree. He's from that same system. You're going to want him to be able to come up. I think teams now are trying to focus more coaching wise on breeding talent and breeding potential play callers that can stay within that same range, to stay within that same offense. And I think that's what these teams that are going with defensive coaches approaches are, is they're bringing in the coach for the sake of culture, for the sake of running the team, for the sake of keeping everything in line. And then they're bringing in OCs that know how to bring up other guys underneath of them that can step in and fill their shoes if they get hired out.
I finally thought of a good defensive coach.
Hmm.
Who actually has a job, I should say. D'Amico.
Yeah.
Finally one clicked.
And D'Amico, what is D'Amico? What does he have in common with a lot of these DC hires or defensive head coach hires that just happened?
49er? No.
No. He's young.
Oh, true.
Mike McDonald's,
I think that's the answer either way.
Well, yeah, sure.
Kevin O'Connell.
Right, right.
See, that's the real answer. You pick your head coach, offense or defensive guy, right? Then you pick the coordinator to be the guy who's never going to get hired again by another team. Like Minnesota did. Brian Flores is just there forever because no one even wants to interview the dude, which is incredible. We're going to have a great coaching staff for all time.
Yeah, it's like what was I going to say? Like, for example, Atlanta with Raheem Morris, right? Everyone wanted them to go with Belichick. The reason they didn't hire Belichick is because this isn't a team that's ready to compete in Belichick 72. So the idea is you want a young head coach. Raheem Morris, I don't know how old he is off the top of my head, but he's surely 30 years younger than Belichick at least.
Yeah.
So you bring in a young coach who's going to help, set the tone. We saw what he just did with the Rams defense, which was beyond impressive. You bring in Zach Robinson, who is widely respected across the league. He's coming in as your OC. He'll get to work with whatever quarterback, Justin Fields, that you end up getting. And I think the Falcons are in a fantastic spot with their coaching situation. And I like these teams going with young defensive coaches. I think, I hate the notion that coaches suck when they're defensive minded or that they should be written off when they're defensive minded. I'm not saying that's necessarily what you were doing, but that is a pretty common belief now. And I think that's just ridiculous. A coach is a coach. It doesn't matter what way they sway.
The offensive coordinator thing, though, where just breed the talent from within, I'm going to stick with that doesn't work because I've seen it once.
Oh.
Zimmer with Kubiak, then Stefanski. So that was great. To the other Kubiak, which was awful. To the next one, which was awful. To the next one, which was awful.
It's easier to do in theory. Like, it's easier said than done.
Everything's easier in theory. Just picking the right coach is easier in theory.
Right, and that's the thing. These teams think they're going to be the one to pull off the perfect cycle to do everything. And plus, I think there's that mentality too of worst case. Some of these guys, they're bringing over good offensive coaches with them. If they suck, fire them, hire the offensive guy if he's any good. Like if for some reason, if Raheem Morris absolutely shits the bed with the Rams this year, fire him and promote Zach Robinson. Falcons. He came from the Rams. If he absolutely shits the bed with the Falcons this year, you fire him and you hire Zach Robinson as your offensive or as your head coach, because I'm sure he will do a wonderful job with their offense. It's the same thing with the Bears, who we can move on to now. I already kind of mentioned they brought in Thomas Brown, which I'm a huge fan of. He was highly coveted for like offensive coordinator jobs, and he's coming to Chicago as our pass game coordinator, which is awesome. If Eberflus shits the bed next year, just promote Shane Waldron. And then Thomas Brown becomes your OC. The quarterback's coach we just brought in, he becomes your whatever. He can replace Thomas Brown. You hire a DC, you move on, you deal with it. I think it's great that a lot of these teams are setting up good contingency plans. And I think obviously that's the key. If you're going to hire a defensive minded head coach, you need a good OC. And I think in instances like Chicago now, not last year, but now, and Atlanta, and I don't know, were there any other ones that were big? Not really.
To me, that's why it's always going to be important to have the offensive head coach instead of the defensive guy. developing a quarterback is the only thing that matters. If you don't get a real one, like, I know you'll tell me the 49ers, tell me another team ever that's as talented as the 49ers
No,
are. There
I
isn't
agree.
one. Like, the 49ers are an outlier in literally every way. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. Like, their flaws aren't even really flaws. It's the most annoying bullshit. Their flaw is Brock Purdy, who is, because he's better than Jimmy G, just good enough that it doesn't fucking matter.
Well, I disagree with that. I think their flaw is their offensive line, but
Except it doesn't fucking matter.
most of the time, yeah, 99% of the
Like,
time it doesn't fucking
none of their
matter.
flaws matter.
The only team it would matter against just got knocked out of the playoffs by the team they're about to play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
um,
Tough. We'll talk about that game in a bit.
yeah, but yeah, no,
No, Raheem Morris is a good hire. It's just
I like
weird.
it. Sure. I don't know. I don't even think it's that weird. I think Atlanta, you had a really good defense last year. You want to build on that. I think Zach Robinson makes this a lot better because you're going to bring in that young quarterback, get him to work with him. He's, like I said, been raved about time and time again. He was a guy that I don't remember if the Bears actually interviewed him, but I know a lot of Bears fans wanted him as our OC. So no complaints from me there. We did interview him. Another defensive head coach, Mike McDonald to the Seattle Seahawks. Love it. I absolutely adore this hire. This was the perfect hire for the Seattle Seahawks because you've still got Pete Carroll in the building, who was a defensive minded head coach. He's going to teach Mike McDonald everything he knows. That's the whole point of this. And you've got the youngest coach in all of football who just coached a generational defense. And you already have a shit ton of young, fun pieces on your defense. The things this man is going to do with Tariq Woolen and Devon Witherspoon make me giddy. And also, Jordan Brooks is probably about to get paid an absurd amount of money because he will be their Roquan Smith.
Or he's walking for fuck you reasons. I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, I
I
think
don't bet on
Seattle's going to
people getting
throw
re-signed.
I think Seattle's going to throw a bag at him.
I would almost
with
bet
this
they're more
signing.
likely to throw a bag at Patrick Queen.
I could see them. I mean, if Brooks doesn't want to stick around, I would imagine they'd go hard at Queen. But Brooks would play a bigger role in their defense. Brooks would be their Roquan. I'm not saying they're the same level of player. Obviously, I have
Maybe
to
they
say
are.
that. I have to say that because I'm a Bears fan and people will be weird about it. But, same type of role, same type of ability, just to a lesser extent.
We need to move because I want to talk about that game now. Just 'cause I want to talk about Roquan.
Fraud Quan. No,
Yes.
okay.
Broad
Let's see
watch.
what else do we got here?
Dan Quinn.
Uh,
What the fuck? Dude, Washington, if you're going to hire the old defensive guy, hire Belichick. What the fuck are we doing? If you're going to hire not Belichick and want a defensive guy, Vrabel. You had two options.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Out of the guys they interviewed, Dan Quinn was their best bet. But
That's bad interview process.
no, I agree.
Same
I agree.
old Commanders, bro. When I told you last week, or last time we recorded, I guess we didn't. Did we have an episode last
Yeah.
week? I don't remember. When I told you not to have any faith in the Commanders, well, it's a new regime. It's still the Commanders, bro.
Clearly.
Nothing changes. The
I
more
feel
things
bad for
change,
Caleb,
the more
man.
things stay the same.
I feel bad for Caleb.
Caleb's not a commander.
Yes, he is.
No, because suddenly, apparently, according to every scout on Twitter, like actual former NFL scouts, nobody's going to want him. So he's fallen all the way to number 11. He's a Viking. Calling it.
I won't care. We'll have Drake May. He's better.
The Duck already told you you're getting Jaden Daniels, and you're going to like it.
Actually, the Duck told me we're getting Michael Pratt.
Who?
Guy out of Tulane.
Who?
He said we're going to have that Pratt to Mooney connection because they both played at Tulane, and it's going to be like Burrow
They
and
didn't
Jamar
play
Chase.
together. No. See,
he said it doesn't matter. He said it doesn't matter.
We're getting the connection. Caleb to Jordan Addison. That's the connection.
You're going to get Spencer Rattler, and you'll like it.
Can I just stick with my original plan? Take Byron Murphy Jr. in the first round and because I think he's good player, but also I think having Byron Murphy Jr. and Byron Murphy II on the same defense is funny. Uh, so you take him, and then in the second round you take JJ McCarthy, because if you're going to sit a guy behind Kirk, pick the youngest guy in the draft who has good upside.
Is JJ the youngest?
Oh yeah,
I think we had this
Oh, yeah.
conversation already. Okay.
JJ's like 20.
Okay.
So yeah, like if you're going to sit a guy for a couple years, take the young guy.
Wait.
You can't.
Wait.
Uh-oh. Am I wrong? Or are you panicking because you're old?
Oh, thank God. He's a month and 2 days older than me. He's 21.
Yes. Well, barely. Yeah.
I know, but still, I was worried Jay McCarthy was younger than me, and I was about to have an existential crisis. That terrified me.
How old are you?
February 22nd, I'll be 21.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So he's a month and 2 days older than me.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
But no, like, genuinely speaking, though, Dan Quinn is a coach. He is in the NFL. But dude, look, they went from Ron Rivera to better Ron Rivera.
No, they didn't. I don't think he's better Ron Rivera. What has shown you he's better Ron Rivera?
I mean, as a head, okay, yeah, I guess as a head coach, sure. I was just talking about coaching in general, but yeah, as a head coach.
But even coaching
not.
in general, is
I
he
think
better?
He's a better DC than Rivera. I think he runs a defense
But
better.
that's not head coaching.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I was thinking about it on a smaller scale.
If you're doing this, just keep Bieniemy and Rivera. You'll be better. I don't like any of their defensive pieces for Quinn's system. They don't make sense. None of this works.
I don't know. I just feel bad.
I don't. They do this to themselves. There are good candidates on the board. Fuck, you could have just been the team. You want to be different? Interview Flores. Oh my God. Like, why did you have to pick the kind of old, really bad defensive guy?
They panicked because Ben Johnson pulled out at the last second like a weirdo.
Who cares? Cool. He wanted to give it one more run, which isn't going to work for many reasons that I'm sure we'll get into in the offseason. But
I just want to say real quick about Ben Johnson. I think one of the funniest things about that is like there's a very valid reasoning for it. People are being like, well, maybe he doesn't want to uproot his family, right? That's fair. If you coached anywhere else but Detroit.
When the other option's Washington, D.C., I think it's okay, actually.
I suppose.
Detroit might be better.
That's fair. I didn't think about it like that. That's fair. That is fair. I don't blame him in that regard. Plus, maybe he's probably not living in Detroit. He's probably living in the suburbs.
No, he's probably living in Detroit.
I hope he does. Does Ben Johnson have kids?
Okay, Detroit's not that bad. You're thinking of Chicago.
That's true. Dude, the only thing I know about Detroit is 8 Mile. All of Detroit is just 8 Mile in my head.
But that's 45 years ago, dog.
It's all just 8 Mile.
That's all you got? 8 Mile?
8 Mile and Lead in the Water. That's what Detroit is in my eyes.
All right.
And also a team that lost in the NFC Championship game.
They shouldn't have even been there. I'm so mad.
No. Real quick, coordinators. I think we covered all the head coaches. Joe Brady, Buffalo, they're keeping him around. They lost their defensive coordinator to.
I don't know if that's good.
He was better than Dorsey.
He was different.
He was better. The Bills' offense had dynamism.
No, the Bills' offense did have a running game, but they didn't have a dynamic passing game. It was still rely all on Josh Allen. But now our scheme's going to dictate that Stephon Diggs doesn't play. The only way he gets the ball is through screens, which is not his game. That's bad. That's not good offensive coordinator stuff.
Just be better. Get the ball to yourself.
I hate Bears fans. They're all the dumbest motherfuckers.
Yeah. Other coordinator hires. Ken Dorsey ironically goes to Cleveland, which could actually work because he won't have anything to do with the run game. Stefanski will tie that man to a chair. You know, like those scenes where they like force your eyes open to make you watch.
It doesn't even matter whether he does or not. Just because it's Nick Chubb. Even if it's not
Right.
good, 12 carries is still 485 yards and 4
Well, no, but I'm
touchdowns.
saying Stefanski's still going to run the run game. That's like Stefanski's bread and
Yeah,
butter is the
no.
run game.
Yeah.
Let's hear Green Bay hired Boston College's head coach as their DC. I don't know.
I know
Apparently
nothing
he's
other
aggressive.
than he was about to get fired. So
Yeah.
which doesn't speak to how good of a defense he can run, because
Sure.
that's head coaching and it is not
Yeah.
important.
No, I saw that his defensive scheme specifically for corners is very aggressive, which is good because Green Bay has a lot of aggressive press man type corners, especially Jair. So
Who's leaving?
no, they said they're keeping Jair.
Yeah, but his Instagram post about it was
Everybody's got an Instagram post about everything. That doesn't mean he's leaving.
yeah, but his is literally just thank you for 6 years, Green Bay. Lambeau was fun. Like
Breaking news: Packers are building a new stadium right now.
no, I think that just means like, bro, I don't want to be here. It's fucking cold in Wisconsin. I'm good.
Packers are relocating to the Bahamas.
I'd be down. I might hate them less.
Let's see here. What
Probably
else?
not
Ooh,
though.
the Eagles, Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore. Better.
Better.
But the thing that concerns me, Geek, what was the biggest issue with the Eagles offense this year?
Lack of run game.
What is the biggest issue with Kellen Moore as a play caller?
See, I'm not going to say lack of run game because Zeke was sick. You're looking at last year where he had Austin Eckler. That's not fair.
Okay.
And
We'll
what,
put it that way.
Joshua Kelly? Brother, what do you want him to do?
He's still not good at scheming up the run. Here's my thing. I like to go off the most recent body of
Maybe
work.
Sirianni
for a
should just,
coach.
I don't know, call the fucking plays.
Was he an offensive guy? Where did Sirianni
I
come
think
from?
so. I thought so. Now hold on.
Oh, I think he did. I think he was under Frank Reich, right?
I don't know. Now I'm scared.
He was. Yeah, he was an offensive guy. He was the OC under Frank Reich. He's been a receivers coach, a QB's coach, receivers coach, offensive quality control coach,
Yeah,
receivers
only
coach.
an offensive guy.
Yeah, but it looks like he's a pass game guy. Also, not only he was the Mount Union defensive backs coach for 2 years.
Oh, the fuck is a Mount Union?
The Mount Union Purple Raiders football program represents the University of Mount Union in college football at the NCAA Division III levels as members of the Ohio Athletic Conference. Shout out the OAC.
All right.
And their current head coach, Jeff Dart, who is currently 42-3 in his 4th season.
Seems like a lot of competition down there.
Well, yeah, they play UW Whitewater.
Who?
University of Wisconsin Whitewater.
Who?
This guy doesn't know ball.
No, I just don't know Wisconsin. Sorry
I love
about
the
it.
eras. I love the eras they have listed on Wikipedia. The Ken Wable era, the Larry Kearis era, the Vince Kearis era, and then it ends.
Nice.
Holy shit, they're insane. Have they only lost one in-conference game since 1985?
See what I mean? There's no competition down there.
No, they're just like that.
And I bet you it wasn't fucking Wisconsin that beat them.
It doesn't say. They've also won a lot of Stag Bowls. They've won 13 out of 22 appearances in the Stag Bowl.
Huh.
And they did lose to Wisconsin Whitewater in the Stag Bowl 6 times.
All before the 80s when...
No, 2007, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2013, 2014.
Oh, so they're not in conference with them.
No, they're just rivals, it says, according to Wikipedia.
Well, yeah, because they keep meeting in the fucking bowl game every year.
I guess this is like some Niners Raiders shit.
Oh. Yeah, so
Wait,
none of that mattered.
Wait,
oh, God.
Wait. Respect the OAC, buddy, because Pierre Garçon and Cecil Shorts played in the OAC.
Pierre Garçon, Kirk Cousins merchant.
I think you mean Kirk Cousins, Pierre Garçon merchant.
No,
Pierre
because
Garçon
who's still in
went
the
to
league?
Mount Union.
Who's still in the league? who's still good.
Yeah, Pierre Garcon and Cecil Shorts III played at Mount Union together. Talk about a dynamic duo. Holy cow.
All right, let's I don't know.
Shout out Mount Union from 2005 to 2007 and then 2006 to 2010.
Oh, that hurts. No, so if Tom Brady was never born, how many Super Bowls do you think your favorite NFL team would have? 0. Still 0.
Yeah.
Brady did nothing to me.
Who asked you that?
Nobody. I just saw it on Twitter.
Oh, I thought your chat asked you a question.
That would have been incredible, but no.
Yeah. Also, Arthur Smith and Pittsburgh. I like for one reason and one reason only.
Because it'll make Pittsburgh bad?
No. The fullback is back in Pittsburgh.
Maybe.
Not maybe. Arthur Smith needs a fullback.
Arthur Smith's also fucking stupid, so I don't know.
I think Arthur Smith without a fullback would be like...
I'm done believing. Looking back, I don't think he was actually that good in Tennessee. I think people are just dumb. I think Tennessee had a great defense and probably the 25th ranked offense. And
I don't remember what their rankings were.
Because all that their offense was at that time was Ryan Tannehill, you turn handball to 22, he touchdown. Yay, Arthur Smith, good, I guess. No, I can't remember a single thing he's done that was like good, other than Derrick Henry had a good year. But guess what Derrick Henry has done without Arthur Smith? Had a good year. I don't know.
Derrick Henry also fell off without Arthur Smith eventually.
Eventually, when he got into his late 30s and was old.
Seasons where Derrick Henry was washed with Arthur Smith, 0. Washed without Arthur Smith, 1. Case closed.
So is that our new argument for all players? Because I'm going to spit some nasty narratives.
Darnell Mooney, 1,000-yard seasons without Luke Getsy, 1. With Luke Getsy, 0. Case closed. Luke Getsy.
That's true.
Luke Getsy ruined Darnell Mooney. No, our wide receivers coach just got hired by Tennessee, ironically.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so funny because,
I want to hire the wide receivers coach of the worst wide receiver room in the league who couldn't figure out how to use DJ Moore. That's a good
Windy City Production. Shout out my boy Rashab. He came in my replies because I tweeted out and I was like, if I was a Titans fan, I wouldn't get too excited. Because Adam Schefter tweeted out and he was like, his name's Tyke Tolbert. He was like, the Titans have hired former Bears receivers coach Tyke Tolbert, the guy, to a whatever deal, whatever. And then a second little blurb where he said he helped DJ Moore reach career highs in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. And I was like, I wouldn't get excited about this. That was not really his doing. And Rashab responded and said, oh no, he made the one good wide receiver in that room look good. And then proceeded to de-elevate all of the other receivers. Because Mooney looked worse. And this isn't...
Okay, Grayson just said the same thing because Luke Getsy fucked Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney was never that good anyways, but yeah, he got worse, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm not even arguing, you know me, I'm not super high on Mooney at this point.
Right.
But objectively speaking, Luke Getsy and Tyke Tolbert made Darnell Mooney worse. He looked worse under them. And some of that was Fields. I'm not naive enough to say that. But when you look at the tape and Mooney's route running looks worse, has new bad habits that he didn't have beforehand. He's doing things he's never done before. Again, just before the ball's even thrown or the ball's in the air, the way he's running routes, the way he's attacking different coverages. It's all different. And it's not a good different. It's an objectively worse different. Yeah. So they hurt Mooney and then Tyler Scott didn't progress at all. I'm big on Tyler Scott. I still think he's going to be solid as just a deep threat or as a 4 or maybe a 3. I don't know. Maybe he can be a 3. They did not do anything for him. So they fucked up the receiver core, but I don't know. Mooney's not great. Mooney's going to be on a different team next year.
Yeah. You want to speak about some coordinator news possibly?
Oh?
Mike Zimmer has interest in the Cowboys' vacant defensive coordinator position.
How was Zimmer as a DC?
Incredible.
It's been a long time.
I mean, even in Minnesota, because he called the defense his entire time there. He was incredible until his last year. which,
Oh,
like,
yeah, that's
we
right.
saw
Okay.
what happened with the defense. I mean, it wasn't good without him either because those players were old and washed.
Right.
But also, with Zimmer in the building, I kind of give it like 8 weeks before McCarthy gets fired and Zimmer gets promoted. Because Jerry can still control Zimmer, and Zimmer is, a real football coach.
Have you ever seen that meme where it's like all bro did was step back? And it's like the before and after. That's all that is.
No, because Zimmer's actually good at calling a defense. McCarthy's never been good at calling an offense.
That's fair.
So that's
okay.
not true.
But I mean, as a head coach, in terms of head coach responsibilities.
Zimmer is fine as long as he's fine as long as he gets the guys he wants.
Do you think he wants Dak?
Yes. 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 I
Why?
do.
Why?
I don't know. So here's the thing. I only know of one quarterback ever that Zimmer has wanted.
That was
He
Teddy,
wore the
right?
number 5. Yep. That's what
Well, Dak
ruined.
wears the number 4, so
That's true. Not anymore. Dak's switching to 5. Head coach decree.
who wears number 5 on the Cowboys right now?
Nobody. I don't know.
Didn't
Nobody.
Gilmore wear 5?
No.
What was he wearing for them?
21.
Where did I swear to God Gilmore wore number 5?
Or was he wearing 24 now?
Let's see here. Dallas Cowboys official site number. Oh, it's Brian Anger.
Oh no. So Gilmore wore 5 in Indy.
That's where he wore 5. I was gonna say I knew he wore 5 somewhere. But
And
yeah,
then he wore 9 in Carolina, 24 in New England, 21 in Dallas.
Huh.
Because he thinks he's primetime.
He thinks he's him.
I mean, he is a defensive player of the year, so he is him, actually.
Yeah. Geek, what you know about Wanye Thomas?
Nothing.
Non-ball knower. What about Nashawn Wright?
Got nothing.
What about Noah Igbenogany?
He's burnt toast most of the time.
All right, you went 1 for 3.
Well, not knowing the other two is all you need to know about the other two.
Cringe. Non-ball knower.
Actually, I do know ball, and that's why I don't know those two, because they don't play
You're
ball.
built like a ball.
Wow. Okay. You built like a bitch, but we ain't talking about that.
I'm glad you had a good comeback for that, because after I said it, I kind of felt bad.
Oh, this show is something. Is that all the coaches?
All the ones that matter. Bears hired the Rams, or not the Rams, the Bills defensive line coach / assistant
Who
head
cares?
coach to be their defense coordinator. I care, because guess what he did? He made Ed Oliver and Greg Rousseau good.
Don't care, because they were good before he was there.
Ed Oliver was not.
Ed Oliver has been good, you non-ball knowing little bitch. Yes.
Ed Oliver, okay. Ed Oliver might have been okay. Ed Oliver became great under Washington.
Don't care.
I do, because
He's the
Jervon
new-
Dexter's coming for you, buddy.
I don't care.
Jervon Dexter, he's coming.
I
He's gonna get you.
should stop saying I don't care, because Garrett Bradbury still plays center for my team. But I could bully Garrett Bradbury.
I thought you were about to say you could bully Jervon Dexter, and I was about to reach through the screen and slap you.
No, I could bully Garrett Bradbury, though.
Well, yeah, all you have to do is tell him he's bad at football, and you'll make him cry.
Oof. But
Also, I bet his shoes raggedy and his Jordan's fake.
with Garrett Bradbury, maybe. I have never wanted a player to be good so much as I wanted Bradbury to be good. And he just, all year, it was like, oh, he's getting better. And then the game started to matter. And he let Aleem McNeil look like a real football player. And that's all I needed to see to know it was over. I knew it should have been over last year when Bradbury cost us the season.
I'm sorry, did you just say the phrase made Aleem McNeil look like a football
I'm not
player?
an Aleem McNeil guy.
Why?
Because he's fine. But people have talked all year like he's Vita Vea. He's not close.
Listen, you're right, he's not. But people
It's-
get excited when nose tackles make plays, and they get too excited about it.
Well, I
Lee
don't care.
McNeil is one of the better nose tackles in football.
Cool. Until Dalvin Tomlinson gets the talk that Aleem McNeil does, Aleem McNeil isn't that guy.
Well, Dalvin Tomlinson doesn't get that talk because he keeps playing on shitty teams that nobody cares about.
Hey, that's fucked up. He was a Viking.
I know. And now he's
Hey.
a Brown.
Now that's a problem.
Yes.
Now that's a problem.
Speaking of the Browns, they hired. Oh wait, we already talked about Ken Dorsey.
Yeah.
That's just funny.
I know some Browns fans are excited about it, and I don't know why.
Browns fans were excited when they brought a rapist in to play quarterback.
That's fair. Oh yeah, don't forget Travis Kelce is the worst person in sports, apparently.
Fucking crazy. Listen, okay, perfect segue into this game. I just want to say, first and foremost, this whole Travis Kelce, Justin Tucker thing, stupid.
No, okay,
It's
so Travis Kelce and Mahomes are entirely in the wrong. In every video, you can see Butker on the other end of the field kicking. Stop fucking with Justin Tucker. They are allowed to kick on both sides of the field. That is how this works.
Okay, they asked him to move
Both
his shit
Mahomes
he
and Kelce.
didn't.
Because he does not have to. He
I
has
still,
as much right to
okay,
be there as they do. They shouldn't be fucking with his shit.
Okay,
I'm sorry,
I'll
you
put it
think
this
you're
way.
more important than the kicker on the other team.
okay, I'll put it this way. Why does it matter?
Why does it matter? Because if Justin Tucker was over there slapping the ball out of Mahomes' hand every time he was trying to throw, people would throw a bitch fit. But because he's fucking with, because Mahomes and Travis are fucking with Tucker's stuff, it's okay.
You know what I think? You know what my entire take on this is? They're just guys being competitive before a game.
Fair.
What happened to this country where we get pissy about guys fucking with the other team before a game?
A lot of things. I just don't
What-
want you I'm pissy because stop fucking with the kickers,
Or stop
bro.
fucking with your kicker. Me. Back in the 1980s,
How
they would
about-
beat the kicker with a sack of potatoes.
How
okay?
about we just get Travis Mahomes and Lamar Jackson boxing at midfield before the game? How about that? Right next, you got Andrews and Kelce going at it too. I just going blow for blow. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, and then Pat Ricard against. There's no fullback on the Chiefs. Pat
Yeah.
Ricard can shadow box for my entertainment.
Butker and Tucker, though, they can go at it for a while.
No, but like genuinely speaking, sure they were. I don't care. I actually haven't seen the full video, so
Yeah,
if they're in the wrong, they're in the wrong. So be it.
I don't think anybody is perfectly in the right here, but I think the reaction's wild. But the real answer is everybody's saying Tucker shouldn't have been there. You can literally see Harrison Butker on the
Sure.
Ravens side kicking the other way because the kickers need to practice both ways.
Yeah.
So maybe don't fuck with Justin Tucker's stuff, but also Justin Tucker, where I'm hung up. Why are you kicking from the 0-yard line?
True.
Like, if Tucker was sitting at the 25 and they were fucking with him like that, Tucker's entirely in the right, and Mahomes and Kelce are pieces of shit.
Right.
Like, that's the answer. But like, what are you doing there?
Yeah.
You're never kicking from there.
And then the other thing too, people are mad at Kelce for talking about it, like, clapping back at it. He got asked about it. And
Yeah.
he responded. It's not like Kelce made an impromptu tweet out of nowhere and was like, "Fuck you, Justin Tucker. You're a bitch boy and I could eat you." He was like, "If you're going to be a dick, I'll be a dick back."
Yeah.
Because wasn't it on his podcast? Didn't Jason ask him about it?
I have no idea.
I'm like 95%
I've
sure
not
that's
seen
all happened.
almost anything other than just the actual video of Mahomes throwing the tee
Yeah,
constantly.
People are yapping about it. And it's like, dude,
Who cares? That is not why they lost. Lamar deciding Lamar deciding he's not going to use his biggest weapon is why they lost. Like,
Part of it, for sure.
I don't want to put all the blame on Lamar, but if every single play, Lamar would have a wide open running lane, make them pay. They would not be able to stop you.
Dude, they were in man all game. They were not looking at Lamar. Their
And they
backs
didn't
were to
have a
Lamar
spy,
the entire
not
game.
one.
Yeah, exactly.
Lamar,
They literally gave Lamar every opportunity to run the
I
football.
think Lamar let it get to his head, not the pressure. Dude was calm as anything.
But
There
the
was no
narratives.
pressure. He let the narratives get into his head of, I need to go beat Mahomes with my arm. Nah, dog. Go beat the shit out of Mahomes with your legs because you are the most dynamic player this league has ever seen.
Yeah.
Go be that.
Yeah.
That was not. And you know me, like, what? People going to call you a running back? Who cares? You're the running back in the Super Bowl then. Fuck them. People
You're
are
the
dumb.
running back in the Super Bowl that's about to win the MVP.
Right? Like, dude, you should have had that. And I'm not saying he played bad as just a pure passer, but you played into the Chiefs' strengths for no reason.
And not only that, but speaking of staying on the ground, and the guy that I would personally give a little bit more blame to, but you're absolutely right with Lamar. What the fuck was Todd Monken doing? You're going up against the Chiefs, who you saw last week against the Bills. You can run on them. I'm not saying the Chiefs have like a squishy run defense, but you can run on them. He ran the ball 8 times with players other than Lamar. I think it was 16 total, however many with scrambles. 8 designed runs for players not named Lamar Jackson. 8. You have one of the best run offenses in football. You have an incredible fullback you can run behind. You have an incredible offensive line you can run behind. You run it 8 times, and what? 2 of them were with Zay Flowers? Yeah. 6 carries for Gus Edwards and Justice Hill combined.
Yeah, that's
What
not
the fuck
cool.
are you doing? It's like, the post-game interview
And
where...
Why is the only short route ever ran by Gus? It's only Gus Edwards and Justice Hill in little like bubble screens.
Yeah.
There's no quick hitters for Lamar. Yet he's trying
Which
to
is
wait for everything to develop.
ridiculous.
Like, what? Odell is you. I'm still gonna say it. You can hate me. He's your best receiver right now. You can argue Zay Flowers, but not
I will
important.
give you the argument of he's your most experienced receiver in this situation.
And what's he best at?
Quick shot.
Slants.
Yeah. The quick game.
Just put him in slants every play. Nobody in the history of this league has been able to cover OBJ. That's a lie. There was one game of Xavier Rhodes, but that's not important.
OBJ had 3 catches for 22 yards.
What are we doing?
Ridiculous.
Like, that's just bad game planning. And then Lamar, I don't know. I don't either. He let the narratives win. Josh Norman wasn't actually holding Odell back that game. Grayson. They just got into a fight. Yeah. No, I'm talking about like an actual game where prime OBJ just wasn't good.
Yeah, OBJ is very reactionary and can't take shit talk. So Josh Norman was just in his head. He wasn't stopping him.
Which is my favorite thing.
It was very much Odell being like, "You can't fucking guard me, boy." And then Josh Norman being like, "Well, you a punk. You a bitch."
And then OBJ was like, "Yeah, fuck you, whap."
Right. Yeah.
Which is dumb. But like,
which is why I don't like OBJ, but anyways.
Whatever. He's a receiver. That's what they do. Andre Johnson beat the hell out of Cortland Finnegan for existing one time.
King Boo Boo Bear DJ Moore would never. He stays level-headed.
He's got no heart.
Big moments.
Got no care.
He's Zen. That's my new nickname for DJ Moore. He's the Zen master. I'm gonna start calling him that. See if I can't get it to catch on.
Moving on. Well, not moving on, but like, I don't know if Lamar let the narrative get into his head. I don't know if he's hurt or if it was just like
look slower.
Monken told him like, don't run,
which would be a fireable offense.
Yeah.
Dude, if I'm the Ravens, if Todd Monken tells Lamar Jackson not to run the football in the biggest game of the year, I don't care how good he did with the offense during the regular season. I am firing his ass yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what I think is really ironic, though? You know who wins them this game?
Pat Ricard.
Well, sure, but no, Greg Roman.
Yeah. Yeah, he would.
As shitty as it is, they don't get here with Roman, but Roman wins them this game in particular. It's not like it matters. I just think it's funny.
No, it is funny.
But no.
Because, with the way Greg Roman called the game, the Ravens would have smoked them.
Uh-huh.
That's tough.
But that being said, credit out the ass to the Chiefs defense and Spags, dude.
Yeah.
They are so incredible. Even without Willie Gay, who is your designated Lamar spy.
Yeah.
They came out and they made a fucking statement. You went up against the MVP of the league. Your quarterback after the game called him the MVP of the league. You held him to 10 points. You made him look like complacent. You turned him into a pumpkin. Like, you absolutely destroyed him. You gave him every opportunity to beat you, and he still couldn't do it because you were that dominant in every other aspect of the game. The pass rush was on point. The linebacker play was incredible. The DBs were everywhere. Dion fucking Bush had an interception, dude. Bears legend Deion Bush came in off the bench and had a pick. I mean, they absolutely tore it up. And listen, I want to say, I like Ravens fans for the most part, primarily because of our shared hatred of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I love their passion. I cannot stand the amount of Ravens fans this week I've seen crying, and not in the sense of like, this sucks, we lost, being like, you know what, fuck this guy on my team, fuck that guy, fuck that guy, fuck that. It's been ridiculous. It's been like, fuck Isaiah Likely. He's been great for you this year. Fuck Ronnie Stanley, one of the better tackles in football. Fuck Lamar Jackson. He is your football team. Like, it's insane to me how quickly Ravens fans turned on him, and I'm sure that'll change here in a week or so, and it's just reactionary. But I just want to bring it up because it's bothering me. Like the Ravens, the guys that I just named outside of Lamar didn't make any personal mistakes that like cost them. They just got thumped, and Todd Monken and Lamar did not do them any favors. And then offensively, Mahomes and Kelsey, fucking, I'm gonna say it. I don't think it's a hot take anymore, but I want to put it in fucking video that I believe this. Greatest playoff duo ever in the history of the sport. No doubt about it in my mind at this point. It is utterly insane what they've been able to achieve in what, 7 years? 6 years?
Yeah.
I think it's 6. Utterly insane. Kelsey has more catches than anyone
7.
in the Right. Kelsey has more catches in the playoffs than anybody ever. The two of them have more touchdowns combined, like, Kelsey or Mahomes to Kelsey, more touchdowns than any tandem ever. Kelsey went fucking nuclear this game. Maybe not so much as he did last week, but he had a bunch of big plays in this game. And I think my favorite thing about this game, you know what Kelsey did that nobody's talking about because they want to look at it from the other perspective? He was drilled into Baltimore's defense's head all game. All fucking game. He was in their heads as deep as he could possibly get. Because the difference here, and this is something I should have mentioned last week, and I'm upset at myself that I didn't. The Chiefs have been here. They know how to handle themselves. They know how to stay composed. They know the type of pressure that's in the situation. Baltimore does not. Baltimore has a lot of guys that have never been here. And one of those guys, who specifically came from a losing culture, really didn't know what he was doing there. And you look at the box score and look at he had 16 tackles, whatever.
No, you look at the end of the game where he just randomly ran off sides for no fucking reason.
Well,
just bowled over the center.
That actually
you still had a
wasn't that
shot.
bad.
It was that bad.
That
Dude,
situation.
it wasn't even a fake call. He just bowled over the center
It was
because he's
first-
a whiny little bitch.
It was okay. He took it too far. Absolutely. The idea was he wanted to get offsides because it was 1st and 5, and he wanted to set them up with the 1st and 10, so they had more yards to go in order to block. But he did take it too far. Yeah, you go offsides, you encroach. You don't have to run over the center. That was just frustration being let out. That's not Roquan Smith's supposed to be a leader on this defense. That's not a play that a leader makes.
No,
that's a crybaby bitch play.
Yeah.
And that's what Roquan Smith's been his whole career, dude.
Yeah.
It really is. Since he came into the league, when he came into the league in Chicago and was the last guy to sign a contract because he thought he deserved more than any other rookie, even though that's not how that shit works. He's been a bitch since day one. And to see him come out here and get exposed, he was a non-factor in this game. Sure, he had 11 assisted tackles. You get 11 assisted tackles for breathing on a guy when he's going down.
Yeah, if you are the starting linebacker, you should, like a starting linebacker, you should have 10 plus
if
assisted
you are,
tackles.
As Baltimore Ravens fans have told me for the past 2 years, the best linebacker in the sport, you should have a better impact than 5 solo tackles and 11 assisted tackles in a game.
I'm still not sure he's top 5, but people aren't ready for that conversation.
I'm not going to go that far because I've already called him a bitch, and I don't.
I went that far last week though.
No,
so.
I know.
Because there's 2 guys in his division. Wait, I went there too. 2 guys in his division are better.
You did. I am so happy that he in particular had a bad game.
Yeah.
I really am.
That's fair.
And I'm really happy that Justin Madubuike had a good game, because my narrative that Roquan Smith is hardly the 3rd best player on that defense is getting better and better every week, because Buiks and Kyle Hamilton are absolutely better than he is. They're bigger pieces on that defense, and I love it. But I will admit my hatred comes from Roquan Smith leaving Chicago, and not in like a oh, I wish I still had him. Like, just he was a bitch when he left. The way he did it was a bitch move. The way he
Yeah.
acted was a bitch thing. And I'm sick of him being overrated, not so much by Ravens fans, but by the media. He never got this kind of talk when he was in Chicago, so I'm a little bit jealous in that regard. I won't lie. But to anyone that, if any Ravens fans come in and they're like, oh, this fucker, he's just mad the Bears don't have Roquan Smith anymore. I'm not. I sleep soundly with TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, dude. I could not care less about him not being here. I just
And
don't like him as a
You
player.
can leave a team even demanding your way out and have
Mhm.
people around there still love you.
Right.
Like
And you
I
can do it
don't
with
have a
class.
Bears example. Stephon Diggs,
Mhm.
when he left Minnesota, he demanded his way out. But guess what? The team still loves him. The fans still love him. When Vikings fans, as soon as the Vikings are out of it, it's all right. We want the Bills to win. We want to see Diggs do something cool. Let's
Right.
go Diggs. Like,
David Montgomery is
There
a
you
prime
go.
example. And listen, I think the funniest part about it, because I saw some Bears fans trying to bring this up, because there were some Bears fans trying to be like, if you're dunking on Roquan Smith, you're weird. No, you're not. David Montgomery left the Bears and did say in an interview at some point that playing in Chicago, losing sucked the fun out of football. He didn't say playing in Chicago sucked the fun out of football. He said losing sucked the fun out of football, which is fair. Losing, being bad at something sucks the fun out of everything. But when David Montgomery left, he did it quietly. He didn't say anything negative about Bears fans. He didn't say anything negative about the organization. And this motherfucker went to a division rival. He just left.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't say anything about it. Roquan Smith, he got traded. He's coming out like, oh, I didn't think I'd actually get traded. I don't know why they got rid of me.
Yeah.
I didn't
Jamal
think I would.
Williams is another one. He didn't force his way out, but even like he left Green Bay and went to Detroit, and all the Packers fans are like, we still love that guy.
Yeah.
He leaves Detroit and goes to the Saints, and all the Detroit fans are like, we love that guy. And like his interview when he went to Detroit, sometimes it just doesn't work out. Maybe I wanted to be back and they didn't want me, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. That's life.
Yeah, no, but
Roquan's just a psycho.
Yeah, and I just can't stand the playing victim thing, dude.
Yeah.
I really can't. Like, genuinely. This is the last time I'm going to talk about it because it's the last time it'll be relevant.
Yeah.
The dude asks to get out of Chicago. He goes to Ryan Poles' to his office and says, hey, you don't want to pay me to be the highest paid linebacker in football, so I would like to play for a new team. Ryan Poles says, okay, we will arrange that. He sends Roquan Smith to a new team. He grants his wish in a way that benefits Chicago, a way that benefits Baltimore, and a way that benefits Roquan Smith. How does Roquan Smith respond? I don't know, man. I didn't think this shit would happen.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why I'm not in Chicago anymore. How are you gonna ask to get traded and then play stupid when you do? That Roquan Smith and Ryan Poles, that is the definition of fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
You fucked around. You wanted to leave Chicago. Guess what? You're in Baltimore now, buddy. Sure, you're going to be more successful than we are in the immediate future. I'm not here to deny that. And I'm rooting for Baltimore as a football team's success because I really like what they have going on. I love Lamar. I love Ricard. I love Beaks. I love Kyle Hamilton. I love the weird mishmash of edge rushers they have going on. I love Zay Flowers. I love Mark Andrews. I love Isaiah Likely. Fuck Roquan Smith and the clique he claims, though. Fuck him. He's still better than Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards.
That's why.
Right. He's still better than what Chicago has. But Chicago
Well,
is
no, he's not.
I think, okay, if you were to rank the three, Edwards, Roquan, I think Roquan's number one.
Sure.
But Chicago is paying the same amount for those two plus Jack Sanborn that Roquan Smith's currently making. And TJ Edwards was just as productive, if not more productive than Roquan Smith was this year. Tremaine Edmonds had a bigger impact on Chicago's defense than Roquan Smith has had at any point in his career because Roquan Smith has always just kind of been there. Like I tweeted this out the other day. You know what? No, I'm done.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm done. I've said my piece. I'm not going to keep going.
Chiefs, Patty Mahomes. He's good at the football thing.
He's incredible. Just real quick, this doesn't have to be a long debate, but I do want to ask you, where's he rank all time?
I don't know.
It's tough.
So I think it's weird because he's what Aaron Rodgers should have been.
Yes.
Like,
absolutely.
just because he's like, I still might argue that Rodgers is more talented just purely as a passer. Like, I don't know. Rodgers does things with football that, like,
Yeah, and I don't hate that.
but like,
I can get
there's
behind
one argument, whatever, and whether you want to argue it or not. But Mahomes is 1 or 2 as the most talented thrower of the football the NFL has ever seen.
Yes, absolutely.
And he's winning like Brady.
Yes.
It's too early to put him 1, but he's gonna be 1.
Oh yeah, no, he's gonna be the great, barring something fucking absurd happening, which
He would
knock
have to
on wood.
retire tomorrow.
Right.
Well, next week on Monday. 2 weeks from now on Monday, whatever you want to
No,
say.
he's gonna
The day
retire
after the Super
tomorrow.
Bowl.
Who's their backup right now? Is it Gabbert?
Blaine Gabbert.
Niners Super Bowl. Lock it
Gabbert
in.
versus Purdy. I'm still picking the Chiefs.
Cringe.
Let me see Shanahan not blow a lead in the Super Bowl one time. Thank you.
Fullback.
Don't care. He had a fullback the last
This
two
guy.
times too.
This guy just. Well, the Chiefs had a fullback then too. The Chiefs don't have a fullback now. They can't
Fair.
balance it out. You know, this guy just said he doesn't care about fullbacks. Chat, flame him.
No, I
Don't give him
actually
any
do
more
care
money.
about fullbacks. You want to know the most important fullback news? CJ Ham's a Pro Bowler. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm happy. That
Oh,
makes me
and the
happy.
NFC bullied the AFC. Holy fuck. In all the skills
Really?
challenges, it's 12-3, like points wise.
Let's go. I need to go back and see what Tez and Jalen
So
did.
I do got to say, and I got to shout out another Viking that no one knows. Andrew DePaula. You know him.
Bears
Saved
legend.
Jason Kelsey's legacy tonight.
Why?
There was a precision snapping.
Yeah. I saw Kelsey do it.
And Kelsey couldn't hit.
He
anything.
hit one.
Right.
He hit the
He
5
one.
once.
To win, DePaula needed 7 points. He
Oh,
got him 9.
damn.
He saved Mr. Kelsey.
That's crazy.
Because DePaula was just like, instead of missing the 5 20 times, I'm just going to hit the 1 every time, and it works out.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of the NFC, Niners Lions.
Oh, yeah, I don't care. Dude.
What do you mean you don't care? The Lions just had an all-time collapse in the NFC title game when it was supposed to be their year.
Welcome to the NFC North, buddy. That's how this goes. It's been the Vikings year twice in my lifetime, and I've watched us get shithoused both times. Welcome to being an NFC North team.
I mean, I am so proud of the 49ers, dude.
Oh, dude, I hate it. I wanted the Niners to win. I hate what the comeback against the Lions has done to the Purdy narratives. It hurts.
They were going to be ridiculous no matter what.
I lost because the Niners won, but I won because the Niners won.
Dude, on the bright side, the Purdy narratives are always going to be extremely blown out of proportion on both sides.
Yeah.
Like, Purdy is always going to be the most polarizing quarterback in the league, I think.
He doesn't need to be. He's just, okay, it's because people don't understand what the game manager term means. He's a game manager. Get over it. He
but
is.
Not in a derogatory way.
No, he's very much just way better Jimmy G.
Yes.
That does not make you a top 10 quarterback.
He is Jimmy G cranked up to 11.
Yes.
And with a little bit more swag. I think Purdy's got more swag. Listen, did you see
I don't think Purdy has any swag.
Did you see that's why he has swag.
No, that's not how that works.
He's got swag in the same way Kirk has swag.
No.
Okay, listen.
No, because Kirk's swag doesn't come from that. It comes from the goofy band kid. Brock Purdy's not that.
I don't know.
He still walks around like he's the jock without any of the jock.
The
stuff.
video of him and I think it was Kittle talking. Maybe it was Bosa.
Duck, you don't get a comment on anybody having swag. You know nothing. Your aura meter is off. You don't know anything? Shut up.
Grayson can't even spell the word aura.
God, every time on Twitter, he'll post the picture that makes somebody look awful and just go, aura. It's like, that's not what that means.
But anyways, did you see the conversation, the question that Purdy got asked? Like I said, I think it was
no, I didn't.
Either Bosa or Kittle. It looked like a fucking Madden franchise cutscene.
Nice.
Like literally, whoever it was, I can't remember. It was one of the big white guys on the team.
Well,
One of
that
them.
doesn't narrow it down at
I
all.
know, and that's a problem. It was one of the big guys not named Juszczyk.
Oh,
That much
okay.
I know.
Well, yeah, you'd never forget Juszczyk.
Right. And he looks at me, he's like, Brock, are you happy with what you've accomplished in the league so far? And he goes, yeah, but this is just the start. Or I think I can do more, or something like that. Well, I gotta find the exact quote. This is
Oh
gonna
my
piss me
god.
off.
No,
But
that does just sound like a shitty
it
cutscene.
was a Madden cutscene
Yeah.
in real life.
And you're gonna tell me that's swag. Jesus.
Hold on.
Being generic white guy number 5 is not swag.
Where's it at?
Oh,
Oh, here it is. Here, yeah, Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa goes, "Did you think you would be this good, bro?" And Purdy goes, "Honestly, I can do better."
I would hope so, because based off the last 2 weeks, you haven't done that good.
Oh, can we?
I know
talk
he got
about that?
comebacks both weeks, but
Yeah.
like, can we talk about the Lions?
I want to talk about the Ayuk catch.
Oh, yeah, I've seen people like praise Purdy for that, which it was just a shitty throw. That
No, Ayuk did everything on that.
yeah.
Did you see his reaction to that not being SportsCenter's top play?
Oh no.
He was so their top play was Lamar throwing to himself over that. And he posted a video, was just like, come on, man.
Come on, man.
Because, like, the Lamar thing, cool. What Ayuk did was harder and cooler and more important to the game. Because
Sure.
that was, like, the big play that, like, shifted the momentum. Like, that's another thing, too. If you're one of those weirdos out there that doesn't think momentum's a real thing, because I know there's, like, a weird subcult of people that does.
I still think momentum works the opposite of kind of what people think a lot of
What
the
do you
time.
mean?
Like when I think, and we've seen this quite a bit, when teams like get moving and scoring a lot, the momentum shifts away from the team that's doing good. Momentum's like a reverse psychology thing. When because when you get down, you play harder, you play better. That swings it more in your favor. The way people talk about moment, if you just keep scoring, that's momentum. Not exactly. I mean, sometimes maybe, but I don't know. We've seen like 8
I
of the
think
largest
in
comebacks
a
ever in the last 3
yeah.
years. So
in a
I think
blowout,
momentum's way more out of proportion.
I agree. If it's a closer game,
Oh yeah, momentum can matter. Well,
yeah,
but it's still not in the same way. It's not because the Lions get all high on a moment that makes it like, you know, they
sure.
get an interception. It's not how that elevates the Lions. It's all about how it deflates the Niners when Purdy throws a bad interception in a crucial moment. It's not
that.
momentum. It's not really the way people are wired to think it is, if that makes sense.
I can get behind that. Sure.
Like it's always the bad that outweighs the good, even in momentum situations.
Yeah.
Also,
on a much more positive note, Kyle Juszczyk had 3 touches in this game.
Is that a positive note? I don't feel like that's enough touches.
It's not, but it's a lot for what they usually give him. And he also had a fucking crazy catch. Did you see his toe drag on the sideline?
Gonna be pretty honest, I didn't get to watch much of either of these games.
Okay, gotcha.
Because I've had to be streaming.
Right.
And
so
I couldn't do the just like watching the game and sitting here thing because that felt really boring for people. Not for me, but
yeah. Purdy did some crazy or like, improvisation shenanigans and threw the ball up to Juszczyk. And Juszczyk was like wide open. But the way the ball got placed, it was on the sideline. So Kyle had to reach up for it like that. And he pulled it in on his tiptoes and stayed in bounds. Like, again, like remember when he had that catch against the Broncos last year?
Yeah.
Like that. It's like that. He's the only fullback ever that can do that. There has never been another fullback that is capable of doing that. Not a one. Not even Larry Sanders, who has the second most catches out of any back ever. There's not another fullback that can do that. And I love it. And also he had a 3-yard run, and I got really confused because my TV volume was low, and I heard a loud noise when he got handed the ball, and I was like, are Lions fans booing Kyle Juszczyk? But Twitter quickly reassured me it was just people yelling "juice," which made me feel a lot better. Because I was about to like go to Detroit and do things that I'm not allowed to say if they booed Kyle Juszczyk.
Dude, Detroit, I
We have been shitting so much on the city of Detroit.
no, that's not. I just mean the Lions in
Oh,
general.
okay.
I
So I've been
cannot wait.
shitting on the city of Detroit.
I
Cool.
cannot wait for you to be the worst team in the North again next year. Bank on it. Outside of injuries, bank on it.
I can
You
see
are
it.
gonna have the worst quarterback. You're
Mm,
gonna have the worst defense. You're gonna have a bad time.
yeah.
Because I hate to say it, but how do you move off of Jared Goff? He's not the reason you lost the game. Like, realistically, they should have won the game.
If it wasn't for a defensive collapse and
And
Dan Campbell getting a little excited.
I don't even want to pretend it's Dan Campbell's fault. How
I'm
about
not
Josh
saying it's
Reynolds
all
just
his
catch a
fault.
fucking football?
That's
I-
fair.
When the execution, the play call isn't a bad choice when everything was perfect until the receiver decided to butter his little hands. Maybe stop eating
Little
fried
hands.
chicken on the sideline, bro. I don't know.
Interesting choice of food, but okay.
I love fried chicken and it's really greasy. Why is that interesting? I know what you're thinking and I hate you for it. What else are you going to pick? What else you eating?
Popcorn.
Nah, because you just TO that shit. Just dump it in your face.
Well, not everyone has the aura T.O. did. Some guys don't have that ability.
That's true. No, yeah, but
And also, he
popcorn,
could have
who's
been.
eating popcorn? That's not food. That's not sustenance.
You built like sustenance.
Thank you. I don't know how to respond to that one.
You remind me of Pal World.
Incredibly fun and everybody loves me?
A cheap knockoff.
Of what?
I don't know.
They're not even.
I haven't
Everybody
determined
claims
that
they're
yet.
a knockoff of Pokemon, but they're not. So
I know.
yeah, there's like some creatures, but that's not.
There
Bro, they're
are some that
shooting
look.
people. What do you mean?
There
I
are
don't
some
care.
that are suspiciously Pokemon shaped.
And Pokemon are suspiciously animal shaped. I don't fucking know.
Fuck. That's the listen. We got to get back on topic, but that's the real conversation. When are we going to talk about how Pokemon ripped off the animal kingdom?
Hey,
When's Mother Nature going to file a cease and desist to the Pokemon
I will
company?
only respect it once we start calling it the correct name, Pocket Monsters.
Okay. Anyways, football.
That is what Pokemon is, Pocket Monsters.
That is. Football. Defensive ends in San Francisco had an interesting day. Nick Bosa, I think, beat the racist allegations. He sacked a white quarterback twice.
Means nothing. Means nothing. Think of the tackle he was beating on every play. Means nothing.
Oh fuck. Oh no, he's doomed. He can't do it. And then Chase Young, I think, showed why the Bears wanted Montez Sweat pretty early on. Because there was one play in particular, it was a run play to Jahmyr Gibbs where Chase Young was supposed to like set the edge and just not get murdered. And he did.
Okay, but Chase Young also showed why you should choose him in the entire second half when he was maybe the best player on their defensive line.
He wasn't the best player on their defensive line in this game.
I didn't say in the game. I said
in the second half. I don't think he was either.
Who are you giving that credit?
Bosa had the bigger day.
Having 2 sacks in the first quarter means nothing to me.
He's still not that good in run defense, and he can't stay healthy. Montez better.
I hate Bears fans.
Who's in the Pro Bowl?
Nobody important.
Montez is in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, as alternate number 426.
No, he got
no one
in.
cares.
He got in right off the bat. He was voted in. Who had double-digit sacks this year?
Don't care. Danielle Hunter-Betta.
Well, that's not fair. It's not a fair comparison.
No, I gotta send you this picture Grayson just sent me talking about aura.
Oh, dear God.
You're gonna learn why I say Grayson's not allowed to comment on aura. Grayson,
I'm going to put this picture up on the screen. When
Grayson.
in post, I'm putting this in the
Sick.
stream, whatever this is.
Grayson thinks this is Aura.
Are you sending it to me on Discord?
Yes,
Okay.
it's sent.
Is that who I think it is?
I don't know, actually.
Oh, I can his name.
Is it?
Oh.
It's not Carrie, right? It's not.
Grayson, who is it?
That is Carrie Collins.
Okay, it is
No,
Gary Collins. That's what I thought. I was
bro
about to
had
say White
no
Tiger, but-
aura. That's why he was who he was.
Oh, here, I'm going to, again, in post, I will add a picture of actual aura here just to make up for
What
it.
are you gonna add?
I don't know. I probably have a cool picture of Kari in my camera roll.
I hope it's cool.
Yeah, I gotta make a timestamp. I'll just do 124. Okay.
Yeah.
But anyways, Lions bad. No Super Bowl for you, Eminem. Womp
Thank
womp.
goodness.
You
You
lost.
know who does get the
yourself.
Super Bowl though? Taylor Swift. And
Taylor Swift.
I am learning I really do like Nick Wright and Colin Cowherd more
Dude.
than most people.
Why are they the only ones making sense of
Because
sense?
they've always been goated. They're just also very much like every other sportscaster. You have to make takes to make takes. You have a 3-hour show every day. You gotta just say some shit.
Sure.
And you gotta become fuck it, I'm the LeBron guy. Or fuck it, I'm the this guy. You just
I
have
hate
to.
that there are three ESPN personalities like that
Neither
are.
of them are on ESPN.
Oh, they're not anymore?
No, they've been on Fox for years.
I don't watch cable TV.
Fair.
I don't have cable, so I don't watch any of those. I figured they were still on ESPN. So those two and Stephen A. Smith, I've been such a big fan of as of late. And I don't like it because traditionally I've never been a fan of them. But Stephen A. going on a show and talking about Pokemon is fucking hysterical. Have you seen those?
No.
Oh my God. Okay, so it started out, he has this like segment on whatever his show is where he has people send him in questions.
His ESPN show or his personal podcast?
I think it's his ESPN show because he goes up to the big monitor. So I would assume it's an ESPN show. He goes up and people send him, like, it'll be either someone calls in or someone tweets at him. First, when someone tweets at him, he tweeted him Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. He said, which one would you choose? Which starter would you choose? He went with Charmander. He's right. And then someone tweeted at him the final stages, Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur. He broke down why he thought Charizard was the best. Because he goes, first of all, he calls him Charizard, with his big bombastic accent, accent, tone, and voice.
Yeah.
He goes, Charizard over here. I don't know why I'm making Stephen A. sound so southern. He point. Okay, fuck you, buddy. Fuck you.
You did it to me earlier, but now I'm the asshole for doing it back.
The reason
Fuck
is
this
because
guy.
the only voice impression I've been doing over the past 2 days is of my my journalism professor, and he is a big bombastic Southern man, and he talks like this, and he sits and he'll talk about I listened to him talk about Taylor Swift in that big bombastic accent for an hour and 15 minutes the other day, and it was the most entertaining class I've ever had. But anyways, back to Stephen A. He's breaking down Charizard versus them, and he says he likes the fire on his tail. He's got the wings. He's got the claws. He said Blastoise is too limited, and he didn't even touch on Venusaur. And Stephen A. is so based for that. He's so correct. He's right. Charizard's objectively the best. No debate. Drop the mic. I dare Grayson to say something. That's what I'm trying to
I don't
fish
think
for.
it's Grayson that wants to say something. I don't know anything about Pokemon. I've just always.
That's right. You're like the one person that I know that isn't into Pokemon, but is into other
like
nerdy
Pokemon's
shit.
cool, but like I don't know anything. So, out of the 3 starters, though, I've always liked. My brain has come up with a name, but doesn't feel like it's right, and I don't want to embarrass myself.
Them.
No. Yeah, it's just Squirtle, and my brain. The minute I wanted to say it was like that can't be a real word.
He's a squirt turtle.
Yeah,
because he's a water type.
Yeah, that's because he's a water type is why I've always loved him. So,
see, one of these days you need to do a stream where you just play through a Pokemon game.
See, I would have to do things.
Oh, really?
So Nintendo sucks. So I will probably
That's true.
never do that.
I
because-
forgot about that.
So if I ever play a Pokemon game, it'll have to be alone. And then I don't own a Switch, so I will absolutely have to 100% legally buy the game.
That's
Which
how
means I will. So yeah, I probably will never own a Nintendo console again. I will probably just do my version of playing Nintendo games, which is how I played like Breath of the Wild and will play Tears of the Kingdom someday.
Gotcha.
It's tough to want to because I can't stream it. So it's like that's a lot of time to like not be doing my job. But the answer for me always is go buy it at full price and then just leave the box fucking somewhere in my room and then pirate it because Nintendo.
I own a
also,
Switch.
ethical piracy is important.
Yeah. I own a Switch because it's a family console, and my sister and I play Mario Kart all the time.
Valid.
And other
Now
games.
that's based.
Yeah, Mario Kart's fun.
Yeah.
We just got it the other day, and I'm just now getting back into it, and I'm learning I suck at it. I haven't played it since the Wii.
Yeah. One day, I don't know how or why or when it'll happen, but we need to run the North Mario Kart.
I will dunk on all of you with Funky Kong, I fear.
This guy.
What the world really needs is Run the North Mario Super Sluggers, the only version of baseball I will ever interact with.
Wii Sports.
Wii Sports is cool. I like
Wii
Mario
Sports
Super
baseball.
Sluggers more, though.
Now, Wii Sports Baseball, where we duct tape the remotes to a baseball bat.
When are we getting
I've
the
done that before.
Realistically speaking, or not realistically, logistically speaking, could we one day organize a Run the North charity softball game?
Maybe. So the issue is getting enough people into
That's what
the
I'm
same
saying.
place.
That's my point.
So I think if we knew like a whole bunch of our friends, we're all gonna go to like Super Bowl week, right? We could organize it during that, or like draft week. We're all gonna be at the draft. I think you could organize it then pretty easily.
True.
Because trying to get people to make a flight out to fucking anywhere, that's the other tough thing. Nobody lives near each other.
Right.
Like we can't pick, well, there's like 8 people in Chicago, so we'll just figure it out in Chicago. Nobody lives near anybody, so everybody's got to go somewhere, and that's a problem.
Right. No, I know.
So I would say at least a couple years, probably, being realistic with the timeline.
Plus, imagine we get like celebrities, and by celebrities I mean Kari and Alec Ingold.
Just imagine me crushing a home run off Miller. It'll be incredible.
I would be a pitcher.
Yeah.
I can't field for shit. And I have a decent arm.
I might struggle. If we're playing it, I don't know. Are we playing a real softball game and not being little bitches about it and doing slow pitch? Am I allowed to go out there and gas you up?
I don't know.
Which for us would be gas, but like an MLB player would be like, yo, that's slow as fuck. I'd be like, bro, it's 70. I'm sorry. I'm trying.
Yeah.
But
is there anything else to say about these games? Sam Laporta played football. David Montgomery. Since I spent so much time shitting on Roquan Smith, David Montgomery balled the fuck out. 15 for 93 in a tutty.
I hate them.
I hate how much I like Jahmyr Gibbs.
I hate how much I like that running back room.
Well, yeah, no, the running back room, I agree, but I have no shame in liking Monty. Jahmyr Gibbs, it brings me a little bit of shame for how much I like him.
See, I don't even like Jahmyr. He's just good, but I don't like him.
I like
want
the way
him on my team.
I really like the way he runs.
But it's still with me. I don't know. I have my concerns with Jahmyr.
And that's
I don't like a running back that I can't trust to just be the running back. I want my Dalvin Cook, where it's just you are on the field all day. Yeah. Nobody else touches.
I'm not trying to argue that Jahmyr is one of the best backs in football. He's just aesthetically pleasing as a runner.
Fair.
Like when I watch him, you know who I don't know if I've said this on video before.
Jamal Charles, and it's gross. I
hate it.
I still haven't figured out if I agree because I keep refusing to watch.
And I can't unsee it.
I see Jahmyr Gibbs on the field and I like look away from the TV. I just don't want to see it because I don't want to enjoy it.
But yeah, no, him, Jamal Charles, and Isaiah Pacheco all have like the same runner's gait, and I love it. They're all three really aesthetically pleasing backs to watch. And Pacheco's for a totally different reason than the other two. He just runs so hard. Like, we didn't talk about it, but his last run in that game to pick up the final first down, that was the most fuck you run I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Remember the dialogue? No, I'm not gonna make a whole big thing about it, but Roquan Smith meeting Isaiah Pacheco in the hole. I don't think Roquan Smith ever met him in the hole, but we saw what happened when Pacheco ran against the rest of that defense and that specific run. So I don't know. I'm real happy with how this week turns out. I know everyone's talking about this as like the doomsday scenario for the playoffs. Weird.
Oh, it
Really
is. Because,
weird.
dude, Oh, so what are you gonna do now, bozo? I'm picking the 49ers to win the Super Bowl. I don't bet against Mahomes. Pick one, bitch.
That was weirdly aggressive.
Yeah. Because your weird ass takes are coming back to bite you in the ass, and I love it.
They're not really biting me in the ass.
Yeah, now you gotta be a liar one way or the other. Which way you lying about?
You'll find out next week.
Oh, this fucking guy. You already know who you're picking.
Oh, we all already know who I'm picking. It's like the Justin Fields getting traded thing. It's the worst kept secret in Run the North.
I so badly want the Bears to keep Fields because it would be so funny.
No,
not even because I hate Fields. It would just be hilarious after all this.
Brad Biggs and who was the other one? There was someone else that was talking about it today. Brad Biggs, do you know who he is?
No.
He's like one of the biggest Bears insiders.
Okay.
Right? He's a beat writer for the Bears. The other one, Albert Breer. They both essentially said during Senior Bowl, it has been widely speculated, or not widely speculated, but kind of talked about, there's rumors, whispers, whatever, that Fields getting traded and the Bears keeping the number 1 overall pick is the worst kept secret in sports right now. And Breer specifically said he expects Fields to be traded by the beginning of March because you want to get the quarterback. You want to trade Fields now when teams don't have their quarterbacks yet. Because you hit free agency. Kirk Cousins can go somewhere, hypothetically. I'm not saying I think he will. I'm almost convinced he's saying Minnesota. But
no, but even if he doesn't, the Vikings would need a quarterback then. Though, right. So that one doesn't really change anything.
Right. So Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield. There's guys that are up for extensions, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of teams that are needy at quarterback right now that might not be by the time the league year starts. So there is a real world where Justin Fields is traded on my birthday. Because my birthday is February 22nd. He said by the beginning of March, February 22nd, Fields could hypothetically be traded. Because if you remember, I was looking into it today. Goff and Stafford, that trade happened on the 31st of January, or the 30th of January, the end of January.
February 22nd, the Bears have traded the first overall pick to the Minnesota Vikings for like 4 firsts.
21 will be my last birthday.
Oof. That's tough.
Yeah. No. And if you would have told me if you would have said the sentence, there is a real chance where Ryan Poles trades Justin Fields on your birthday a year ago, I would have lost my mind. This year, it would be the best birthday present I have gotten in years. And I hate that I feel that way. I really do, because I still love Justin Fields. And I am going to root like hell for that guy. I don't care where he goes. I will become a pseudo Steelers fan if I have to, because I will be rooting like hell for Fields. But he's got to go. You know, the more I watch everything, like he's got to go. I'm fully on that train. I think anyone with a brain is at this point. And it seems like everyone in the league is in that mindset as well. So now I'm a little like, that concerns me a little bit with the price tag, because I was hoping that Ryan Poles would be able to, you know, play poker with it and kind of drive up the price. He still might be able to drive up the price because maybe you get in a bidding war. But
the Vikings will give you a 4th round pick.
You're getting more than that. Sam Darnold went for a 2 and change. He's not going for less than Darnold, I wouldn't imagine.
See, that's where it gets weird, because Darnold was viewed as a better prospect by a lot.
Was he really? I wasn't big
The
in draft
entire
dialogue
world
at that point.
thought Darnold was the best QB in that class. Like everybody.
Interesting.
Like it was a shock that Mayfield went one.
Huh. Interesting. I
And
remember when I was that age, I thought Mayfield was the lock at one because he was the big bombastic personality.
see,
and I
that
thought
makes sense.
mattered.
Well, but it does kind of. It's the Browns.
Because I would have been
And I
what?
mean, you were
I would have
right.
been 2018, right?
It would have been 2017.
No, because 2017 was Trubisky and Mahomes.
Oh yeah, it was, huh? So
So it was
2018.
2018. So I would have been 15. Yeah, sophomore in high school. I didn't know shit about the NFL draft yet.
I was 18, and I was like, I was the guy. So I thought Baker was the best QB in the class, but I also knew he had the most risks.
Mm.
So I was like, talent wise, I want, or like not just talent, but talent and just like where he is right now, I want Baker. And then I had Darnold, Rosen, Lamar, and I think I had somebody else over Josh Allen. I was like, he is the highest ceiling guy, but he's coming from Wyoming, where he didn't play that well in a shitty college football division. He didn't look that good.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, he's got incredible talent, but unless a team can develop him, he's not going to be good. And I think it's going to be harder to develop basically a guy with no experience than anything else. So I just had no faith in him ever actually being able to be good. That was a good take for 3 years.
Gotcha.
I really thought Josh Rosen was going to be that guy, though.
Interesting.
Boy.
But that being said, like I'm glad that it's starting to come out more and more that like the NFL is like, yeah, he's gone. He's not a Bear. And again, I hate to admit it, but I will say I hated this is going to sound stupid as hell, but I don't care. I hate it a little less now that I have more than one white jersey because Fields was my only white jersey for a long time. But now I have Forte and then I got my DJ Moore jersey in the mail today. So
first round mock on Twitter.
uh-huh.
He is a former Jets scout.
Okay.
He made a 12-page long tweet. Like many a scroll to get through this tweet about Caleb Williams. All I gotta say is, and you wonder why you're a former scout for one of the worst teams ever.
Yeah.
Dude, teams need to consider the high risk from the neck up based on Williams' actions. Painting his nails with obscenities aimed at opponents. Bro, George Kittle wears a shirt talking about murdering the other team every week.
What happened to competitive nature and rivalries?
But it's also painting his nails, so that's
Oh no, he's not toxically masculine, or he doesn't participate in toxic masculinity. Surely he is terrible. Surely there has never been a quarterback that is not super traditionally masculine. Certainly there's never been an all-time great quarterback that wore UGG boots religiously that some scouts in that mindset would think would be feminine or
who the fuck
girly.
wore UGG boots?
Tom Brady.
Really?
Tom Brady's an UGG wearer.
Sick.
Yep.
Love that.
And again, I'm not saying that is a bad thing.
No,
I
I
just
wasn't
know that
judging.
type. Yeah,
Bro,
yeah.
I've been considering buying
Yeah.
a pair of
I'm
Uggs,
just
not gonna
saying,
lie.
that type of mindset, I know they would look at a man wearing UGG boots and think he is
Love that.
something.
Judging him for during a press conference saying, I just want to go home and cuddle with my dog and watch some shows. Bro just lost out on the playoffs and he just wants to go like chill for a bit.
Oh no, he cares about self-care.
This guy, his specific take, which is why you should never have a job again. You should never make a cent for talking about the NFL ever again. You should have to pay it all back, actually. He's much closer to Johnny Manziel than he is to Patrick Mahomes on the spectrum.
Johnny Manziel.
Hey, Patrick Mahomes was not a good prospect, you fucking weirdos.
Mm-hmm.
He became incredible. Good for him. I hate this. How did Trubisky go before Mahomes? Trubisky was a better prospect. Yeah. At the time, he was. No single person could have told you Mahomes was going to be what Mahomes was. The real why the fuck did it happen, which now I guess it makes sense, is Why the fuck was it Trubisky over Watson? Watson was the best quarterback in that class by
And
a
I couldn't
mile.
be happier the Bears fucked that up. Well, fucked it up.
Yeah.
But no, on top of that, Johnny Manziel gets such an undeserved bad rap.
It's definitely deserved. Bro admitted he never watched a single minute of film. He deserves all of his rap.
But you do understand that he's bipolar.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I think people are a little too, okay, here's the thing, and I'm not a mental health expert. I'm just saying, I think a lot of what was going on with him, especially from hearing him like talk about it now, he was overwhelmed by everything going on and he had an unchecked, like major mental issue that obviously was not helping his situation at all. And it's the same idea or the same argument I make about like Jameis Winston or college players that, do bad things, but like in a sympathetic way for Manziel. You have a young kid, you give them the world, you tell them that everything is theirs, they are God, and everyone will worship them. If there's anything going on up there, that it explodes.
Sure.
And I think Manziel's kind of like the prime example of that. I'm not saying Manziel should have been like an elite quarterback or anything. I'm just saying like I think the idea that like Johnny Manziel's this total fuck up and people look at him like he's some sort of piece of shit. I think that's overblown.
Piece of shit, no. Fuck up, yeah.
Okay.
Dog, you chose to not try. I will never be okay.
I don't know. I'm a little more. I just feel like maybe it's just a me thing. Maybe I'm being too nice about it, but I still think Manziel deserves a little bit of slack for it. Because the reason I say that is because I live with people who have. I'm not going to say are bipolar because no one's diagnosed, but like aren't far off from it.
Sure.
Or at least have something in a similar vein, and they lived most of their life with it unchecked. Mm-hmm. And I've seen what it's done to them. So I'm sure
that I understand
when you mix in fame and the promises and the partying and the women and all that kind of stuff, I'm sure it wasn't the healthiest environment for him to get the help he needed, because obviously he didn't get the help at all.
No.
So I'm just a little more sympathetic to it. Like, yeah, his career was a waste and he wasn't a good NFL quarterback and he should have been better than he was. And he didn't take the necessary steps to get better, but I can't necessarily blame him for it, if that makes sense. Like, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I was talking to a buddy of mine today who goes to school down in Texas, and he was talking to a girl who grew up in the city that Johnny Manziel played football in. Like, I forget what city it is, but whatever city Texas A&M is in. And when she was growing up, she said Johnny Manziel was like Jesus down there, and him and his teammates ran around doing whatever the fuck they wanted. So because he's just starting to get into football, he texted me and he was like, "Tell me who Johnny Manziel is." So I was like going through and I was telling him, and then I was fact checking myself. And in the process, I found out about the whole, like, not found out about him being bipolar. I did know about that, but found out about the more recent stuff he's talked about with it. Especially like that documentary they just pushed out where they completely butchered it and made him out to look like a fucking loser and like a deadbeat and all sorts of shit. And people like very much hated the documentary for that. I don't know. Point is, Caleb Williams is not Johnny Manziel.
No.
He's much better.
Oh, apparently we witnessed Caleb having a mental breakdown, crying uncontrollably in his mother's arms.
He was human for 10 seconds.
To me, as a former NFL scout, he's the most mentally fragile player I've ever evaluated. That is this former scout's opinion. He's evaluating mental fortitude without ever speaking to the man, which is
should be a former Earth dweller.
Bro, these are the people the Jets employ, and this is why we won. Why do we wonder why the Jets bad? This is who they employ. Though, isn't the other fucking moron on Twitter a former Bears scout?
Greg Gabriel?
Yeah,
fuck that guy.
So the Bears are also dumb.
Greg Gabriel.
There ain't no former Viking scouts coming out and being the dumbest people on the
Greg
internet.
Gabriel was he worked under Phil Emery, and Phil Emery was also a moron. So,
let's see. he has little experience dealing with the adversity. It by his own admission, where he was like, we're 7-5 and don't have any playoff hopes at the end of the season. I've never been here. I don't know what this is, which is a bad thing somehow. That he's never been bad.
This guy doesn't lose enough.
But also he's got a losing record against ranked college teams. Yeah, because his team was ass.
Me when I purposely spread misinformation on the internet.
Like, bro, what? And yeah, he's 2-9 against ranked college teams. Can we talk about the thing that matters more? Against those ranked college teams, USC averages like 50 points. I don't think you can blame Caleb for them. When you lose 53-50, I don't think you can blame the quarterback. Just me though.
Mm-hmm.
Just me though.
It's absurdity, dude. I don't understand it. I will never comprehend it. And I want to bring up one more thing also like related to Bears quarterbacks, just because I was just on Twitter and I remember I quote tweeted it. And then we can go because I think we have exhausted all of our resources for this episode.
I got one more thing to bring up, but you won't care. So
do that. So I saw a tweet today where someone tweeted about Caleb versus Fields, how it goes. Someone replied with a picture. It was from a Pro Football Reference comparing the stats of two players through their first, 3 years. It was Justin Fields and Troy Aikman. And the caption,
so glad the world is learning Aikman's awful.
And the caption on the picture, like the text that goes along with the picture that he posted, said, "Coaching, situation, and context matters."
Yeah.
How are you going to post stats between a quarterback that played in the 1980s and a quarterback that's playing in the 2020s?
90s.
Sorry, 90s. I was off by 10 years, but the sentiment still applies. Also, I thought Aikman was drafted in the late 80s.
So he played a year in the 80s. Fucking congrats. He didn't play in the
89?
80s.
Was it 89? I thought it was.
I think so. And I don't. But that's not. He played in the 90s.
Okay,
like
yeah, he was drafted in 89. I thought it was a couple years before.
Yeah.
That. I was saying the 80s because, like I said, it was just the first 3 years. I thought Aikman was drafted in like 86 for some reason. Either way, I know the majority, his prime, all the good shit happened in the 90s, but I thought it was a little bit earlier. So, a quarterback that played in the 90s versus a quarterback that plays in the 2020s. Two quarterbacks that play polar opposite of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we comparing them?
Because it still can make a good point. Even just statistics can still make a good point.
Okay, so Justin Fields barely has better numbers when he plays in a league that is 30 years more advanced and far more pass heavy.
Except Justin Fields' team was not far more pass heavy.
The league itself is far more.
Don't care. That does not matter when comparing the two players because Mahomes throws more than Aikman does. Yeah, but Fields doesn't. That matters.
Okay.
Like
hold on. I gotta find this tweet.
Okay, but also I think the real takeaway here is Aikman was never good. That's the real takeaway. Aikman was Jimmy G before Jimmy G.
Oh, never mind. Fields didn't even have better passing stats than Aikman. I misread it. So this dude is going off of. Yeah, no, I know, but I thought that was the whole point. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I didn't read the stats. I just saw Fields and Aikman being compared, and someone said context matters, and I thought that was hysterical. So Fields has a better completion percentage, 0.3 yards more per attempt, a couple more touchdowns, fewer interceptions.
Okay.
And then rushing yards.
You know what I think they meant by the tweet, which is accurate? How all of the coaching and other players and team matters is that Aikman wasn't that good, but he won a bunch of games and a lot of Super Bowls because his team was great and his coach was awesome. Fields has been not the greatest on a shitty team with shitty coaching. The point is, players can play not even similar styles, but can put up similar numbers and play in a similar fashion. But because of situation, they are looked at entirely differently, which is accurate.
I don't know. I still don't think putting Fields and Aikman in the same sentence in any regard makes any sense.
They're both overrated. Oh, I
Aikman was
win.
competent as a passer.
Aikman really wasn't that good.
He was competent. I'm not saying he was good. I'm saying he was competent. He's leaps and bounds ahead of where Fields has been as a passer.
I question. Have you ever seen Aikman do anything other than a highlight to Michael Irvin, which is only his good place?
Yeah, I've watched old Cowboys games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, Aikman,
when I was, I like going back. Whenever
good.
I can find him on YouTube.
The fact that Aikman's in the Hall of Fame hurts me.
Yeah, Aikman's in the Hall of Fame because of team success, and he was a quarterback on a successful team. I know all that. I'm not saying Aikman's some great quarterback. I'm just saying comparing him and Fields is idiotic.
Okay.
Especially, and listen, the bigger point with it for me is saying context matters and then only posting stats.
That's fair.
That's the bigger thing with me. You know me. I hate stats without context. I hate stats without any sort of additive.
In my brain, I went it the other way. Just the context should be the numbers are similar and just look at the situations and what's different.
He didn't provide what the context was. He just said context.
I thought you said, coach earlier you had said that maybe the tweet had said coaching, ski, all of the different stuff matters. And I'm like, because it does.
Sure, it does. Still can't compare those two quarterbacks.
Then never compare Mahomes and Lamar. They don't do anything similar.
Totally different. Completely. They didn't play 30 years apart in different eras of football.
But your biggest argument was that they played different styles. It doesn't matter.
They played
30 years apart. So we can never have a GOAT conversation. We can never compare any player ever based off of that. 30 years apart only matters for these two?
Me when semantics.
I'm just trying to figure out why can we compare Dan Marino and current quarterbacks, but not Fields and Aikman? We compare all sorts of players, but why is it a problem now? Because you've suddenly turned into, I want to slander Justin Fields?
No, I would have said this when I liked Fields.
So I'm just trying to get your point.
Nothing in common with you. There's not a thing they have in common.
Okay.
Not a thing. Not a single thing. They play differently. They play in different eras. Their situations are different. Lamar and Mahomes at least have a connection.
Era?
Yes.
Okay.
They play in this league at the same time. Therefore, they're always going to be compared against each other. Comparing field stats with quarterback stats 30 years ago when they didn't throw the football nearly as much, and he's still not as good as them statistically as a passer, is ridiculous. It makes no sense. It is pointless. It is fishing for something and catching nothing.
I think you're just still missing the point, even though I've tried to say it 3 times. So
I get your point. Your point is valid. Your point was not their point.
I don't know. Fair, I guess. I guess they did not say that was their point. That's just how I take it.
Yes, the way you took
makes sense to me.
The way you took it, I understand, and sure, their argument was not that.
Fair.
Okay.
It's just here's how I'd put it. How significantly different are the 49ers with Fields instead of Purdy?
Incredibly.
Okay. Purdy, throw one accurate pass ever, challenge impossible. Fields has hit a pass before.
Fields wouldn't throw the pass.
That's just not true.
I want to know, what's Purdy's time to throw?
Oh my God. I don't know. Probably pretty low because all they do is get the ball out of his fucking hands before he can fuck it up.
As of November 9th, it was 2.5. Let's see. The Athletics got
And what was Fields? 3?
3.7.
Oh.
3.4, something stupid. Time to throw is...
I'm just curious.
I don't know.
Similar, running mobile guy.
Yeah, so
Purdy was 2.7 seconds on the year. Lamar. Oh no, that was last year. Never mind.
Okay, I'm looking at Fantasy Pros. Don't know this website, but I'm just telling you. Never mind, because even though I looked for a specific stat, it's not showing me the
Everything
specific
I've seen
stat.
around Purdy was like 2.5.
I'm literally not seeing a time to throw chart anywhere.
I know. I'm just pulling shit out of articles because there's no
I
like.
trust StatMuse? Probably not, because they're wrong half the time.
Check Twitter. Like I said,
Yeah, time to throw, and I click it, and the chart that pops up is total number of attempts. What does that mean? StatMuse, be a real site one time.
Okay, this year Brock Purdy's time to throw was 2.6, which was 10th in the NFL. Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, he's throwing the ball a whole second earlier than Fields.
Okay.
Which
again, scheme matters. Context matter. When every play, the routes have to develop a yard down the field, and I'm not gonna entirely just shit on the Bears because their offensive line was better, but Fields' best weapon is still his legs. So trying to pretend you want him to just pocket pass and get the ball out quick, that's not his game. It never will be.
I'm not saying it has to be his game. I'm just saying he holds the ball at an unacceptable rate. As of December 6th, it looks like Lamar had a time to throw of 3.05. Still a whole
Still half a second.
Yeah.
But also, how much of that was the fact that outside of DJ Moore, they didn't have a real receiver?
It definitely well, define receiver.
Komet is weird because half the time he was blocking.
But no, like it definitely contributes. But even when guys are open, Fields really
context matters.
Rip.
Like, we talked about this.
Right.
Well,
No,
Fields struggles to let it rip, but we also watched like when his coaches would talk shit about him and he'd go try to make every play, he'd hold the ball too long and look bad. When Fields was just playing, you get the Washington game.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll say.
That's the other thing. With Shanahan, it's probably better than what they have with Purdy right now.
Let me put it this way. If you just straight swap them for this year and this year alone, I don't think they're any better. If Shanahan drafted Fields and has been working
just swapping them right now,
I don't think so. I think Fields has developed bad habits that are going to be an issue.
That's fair.
Now, if anyone could coach them out of him, I guess it would be Shanahan. But I don't think it would happen in a year. I think it would take a little bit longer.
I don't know. But
if Shanahan
Purdy still has those shitty habits.
Sure. But if Fields was drafted by Shanahan at number 3 overall in 2021, it would be different. I think Fields would absolutely be better than Purdy is right now.
For sure.
But I think with the development he's had under Nagy and then the year under Getsy last year, I wouldn't say he'd be better. I don't know. I hate to say it. Listen, I want to make it clear. I'm not a Fields hater. I love the guy. It's just at a certain point, something's got to give. And we are at that certain point.
So, you know the stupid dragon picture where there's the different dragon heads and then the dumb one? I'm seeing an NFC North one.
Is it the one with the GMs with Quessy as the dumb one?
No,
it's I saw that today.
The teams. And it's all of, Packers, Lions, Bears are just the angry, mean looking one. The Lions one has sunglasses and a crown for some reason.
I guess because they won the division.
No, I don't know. Oh, he's also smoking a joint, I guess. Sick.
That is one cool dragon.
And then the Vikings one is the dumb one because the Vikings have to re-sign players and only have 25 million cap, which isn't true because when this hurts to say out loud, but I have to do it. When we cut Harrison Smith and when we restructure, Brian O'Neill will be about 60 million in cap. And the Kirk JJ Hunter thing, JJ and Hunter JJ won't count against the cap for another year, where we still are set to have even after re-signing Daniil and Justin Jefferson, we are set to have the most cap space in football next year. So like maybe know something. The Packers have 0 cap while having the youngest team in the NFL, and sure they have their picks, but when do the Packers hit on those picks?
Right.
They hit on the late round ones and get good players. When do they get great players? Rarely. You get Tay. You get the great quarterback. That's all you get, Green Bay. It's over. Like, and then the Lions, 70 million in cap, and they have all key players under contract. That's just not true. Jared Goff's contract is getting close, and you're going to want to give him the extension this year, and you're about to have to pay bro $50 million a year. Your franchise is Jover. You had your shot. You blew it.
Right.
You straight up blew it. It's not like it was a close game. You fought hard and you feel like you're right there. You straight up just blew it. At halftime, it was yours. The world thought you were headed to the Super Bowl. And then weirdly, everyone but Jared Goff blew it.
Yeah.
Which is not how I expected that to go.
Was that the thing you wanted to bring up before we wrapped up?
Oh, no. Quick basketball thing.
Oh.
Apparently LeBron might get traded. Kind of at his own request. Because he is still... Yeah, Jordan never got traded. Jordan at 40 was out of the league and washed and bad. LeBron at 40 is still a top 10 player. Shut the fuck up. Your take isn't what you think it is. Jordan never demanded a trade. No, he just rotted in Washington and didn't make the playoffs. Fucking congrats.
He didn't rot. He was actually pretty good in Washington.
No, he wasn't.
He was the best player on that basketball team.
I would have been the best player on that basketball team.
Me when I lie for attention.
Bro, they had 3 of the biggest draft busts of all time. Michael Jordan couldn't carry their asses to the playoffs. I would have been the best player on that team.
LeBron would have
Kwame Brown. Yeah, LeBron would have got him to the playoffs. That's
then
the
why
whole
didn't
story
you,
of LeBron.
why didn't you do it?
Because he wasn't in the league. He was 14.
Skill issue. That's his problem. My goat was playing. LeBron was too busy counting his 1s and 2s and fucking 9th grade math.
But the whole reason this matters is right now the rumor is it's going to be Cleveland, which is funny.
Have they not had enough?
Winning championships? No.
He's not getting them one this year, is he? Are the Cavs
Maybe.
good?
Yeah. They got Donovan Mitchell. They got Darius Garland. They got Jared Allen. Like they got a good team.
They have Jared Allen?
Jarrett.
From Culinary Academy?
Jarrett. No D.
Jarrett J. Rice Sports?
Yes. The other one that people love is him going to Dallas with Luka and Kyrie, which would be incredible.
Which would be ring chasing. My goat never had to do that. He didn't have to form super teams. He was the super team.
No, he formed super teams.
Not by leaving.
No, he just demanded they come to him, and then when he didn't like how that was going,
if Kevin Durant's a snake,
my goat,
LeBron's a snake.
No, that's
if
not
KD's
how
a
that
snake,
works.
then LeBron's a snake for doing
not the same scenarios at all. Actually, you're just dumb and trying to fill narrative.
That's exactly.
You want a real narrative,
baby?
Want a real narrative? My goat never quit on the sport because he was a tired little bitch.
That's not why he quit on the sport. He quit
yes,
on the
it
sport.
was.
He quit because his dad died and he wanted to go honor his dad by playing baseball.
Sure.
Making fun of the guy for honoring his father? LeBron's sexuals are going too far.
No, dude. Okay. I want to honor my father by going and doing something I'm awful at.
I want to honor my father by going and playing the sport that he wanted me to play when I was growing up.
Then you should have just played that sport. Jesus. If it mattered that much to you, why quit in the middle of your prime?
Because not Adam Silver, who was the fucking commissioner at that point?
Bro knows nothing.
I don't. You're right. I don't. I'm not a basketball fan. I just
Nah,
do
bro
this to
got
piss you off.
suspended for gambling. My goat would never.
No, your goat would just be dumb and stupid and ugly and smell bad.
Well, none of that's true.
LeBron James smells bad. I know for a fact. I met him once.
No, you don't, and no,
He
you
smells
didn't.
like 3-day-old enchiladas.
Miller has never left the small state of Maryland.
It's not true. I went to Disney World.
Mickey Mouse trip.
I also go to I went to Pennsylvania every weekend. I've been to West Virginia. I'm actually going to Pennsylvania this weekend.
Oh, Mickey Mouse trip.
I'm getting dragged to an anime convention this weekend
Why?
because all my friends are going and they wanted me to go with them. And so my one friend, okay, I mean this in nice ways. I don't. This isn't a braggy thing, but my one buddy, he's got money, right? His
Nice.
family's got money. And whenever he wants me to do something that he doesn't think I'll sign on for, he just pays my way in advance, so I feel guilty and go anyways.
Nice.
So he bought my ticket to this convention like 3 weeks ago, and then 2 weeks ago was like, "Hey, are you busy on what's Saturday, the 3rd? Whatever it
Sure.
is." Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes, "Are you busy on the 3rd?" And I said, "No, I don't think." And he goes, "Well, you're coming to an anime convention because I bought your ticket." I was like, "Cool. I'm gonna go stand and find the Pokemon and then just curl up in a ball because that's all I know."
This is a good time to learn.
No, it scares me
Why does it scare you?
because it's different,
Valid.
and I'm an American.
Means you should like anime.
I'm gonna find the Teen Titans booth.
When Miller finds the love of his life at the Pokemon booth, Geek will no longer exist if I hear Miller met the love of his life. If Miller finds love before me, I'm done. It'll be Jover.
No, you can. I'm not going to say it on here, but
Don't
you
worry.
can.
I'm never going to find the love of my life because I'm stuck at this fucking desk for the rest of all time.
How many hours do you have left?
10 and a half.
Damn. I was going to say, you can. Speaking of like learning things, you can ask Grace. And I recently got into a show that I'm very ashamed that I like as much as I do. I'm not going to say the name of it on here because I don't want to air myself, but it makes me sad that I like it as much as I do because it's really good and it shouldn't be, and it doesn't fit anything I like.
I'm just waiting for him to tell me after the show.
Oh, I'll
That'd be
tell you
great.
after. Yeah, I'm just not saying it mid podcast, but I do think that's going to wrap us up. I don't think we have anything left to talk about. So that is going to do it for this episode of the Run the North podcast. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to leave a like down below as it helps us out a ton. I'm going to try not to do my YouTube intro because I just almost did that. Also, make sure to follow us on all platforms, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcast, you can find us. We're also on YouTube, obviously. If you're watching it on here, that's where I think most people do. Make sure to subscribe for weekly podcast stuff. And then also Geek and Jake are doing weekly videos, and I'm trying to do videos, and we're doing a whole lot of cool stuff.
I'll get back to weekly videos once I can do something other than stream.
Right. Sure. But that being said, thank you all for watching, and Geek, do the thing.
Bye.